You know, locked in, gifted, but we are locked in. We are here.
Yeah.
We are here live, episode 38 of season 2 of the HoopTalk Podcast, part 3 of our 6-part series, ranking the top 10 of all time at each position, and then top 10 of all time will be the final week. I am joined here by Riv and Gifted. I believe this is you guys both first times on the show, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. So welcome, debut show. Happy that you guys are here. Glad to have you. How are you guys doing?
Gifted. It's my first time meeting you, man. But I feel good. Excited to talk about basketball. Summer's getting a little dry, and I feel like the small forwards list is gonna be a little bit entertaining. I reckon we have a lot of old guys in this one, so I'm excited to talk about it.
Might be a couple.
Yeah. It's hot outside, and it's always a good time to talk basketball. So I'm excited for whatever this conversation brings. Always down to learn some new things about hoops. So I'm with it.
That's the goal. As always, I say we did point guards 2 weeks ago, shooting guards last week. Everyone who is involved, that's 18 people in total, including the 4 of us up here, sent me their top 10 small forwards of all time. I then compiled the score of everyone. So for first place, 10 points all the way down to 10th place, 1 point. And then I'm going to give everyone the overall list that we've come to get the definitive best small forwards of all time. That should be fun. Before we get into it, I want to ask you guys, what was you guys' criteria when determining your small forward list? I'll start with you, Riff.
That was the trickiest part for me, because I always felt like it's really hard to compare eras, compare players from different eras. I'm very understanding of the evolution of the game. I'm very understanding of the rule change. So it's really hard. I tried to keep it relative to era, what you did in your era, how your skills would translate in eras. That would probably be my lowest standard, but just basically what you did in your era, how great you are in your era in the competition you played.
Gifted.
So for me, like, how good you were at the sport matters. I think also like how long you were great is key. And just like in comparison to another player, like who could scale up slightly better was another thing that I factored in. But majority of it is just how good I think you were for me.
John D.
I think I side with Riv. The criteria, you see, I've been trying to find my right criteria for lists throughout the weeks. I think just how good were you, how long you were good, and how you impacted your team. Try and keep it simple, move that way.
Is that why you hate Isaiah Thomas?
I don't hate him, but
I just based on your criteria, I don't like how you talk about Isaiah Thomas, but that's not the here nor there.
Things change. Isaiah Thomas, that my opinion on him may not change. But
oh wow.
Shout out to the point guard list, man. I think Isaiah Thomas came 8th on that list overall, so
that's good.
Lower than the typical consensus. Yeah,
make it somewhere.
Weren't on my top 10, I'll say that. But if you want to see our top 10s, go check that out. That is on the channel. We did it 2 weeks ago, but we are here today for small forwards. As always, we are going to start from the bottom up. There were 17 names sent to me in total, so 17 names among 18 lists. So there wasn't too much of a difference between lists. It's slightly less than we had for the shooting guards and one more name than we have for the point guards. There were a couple guys who got one vote in 10th place, and those are the guys we're going to start with. I'm going to start with the most egregious name I got sent, so we can just brush past it and keep it pushing. I'm going to name and shame the person before I even get to the name. It came from Penn, so shout out to Penn, friends of the panel.
Okay.
John D's laughing like he might know who it was. John D, do you want to say who you think it might be?
What egregious name is it?
Scottie Barnes got 1 10th place vote. Yeah, Scottie Barnes did get 1 10th place
brother,
vote.
man.
Yo, I'm not even trolling. Me and John are gonna do a small forward list. Currently, he might not make it. Genuinely. And that's in the league right now. So all time getting a vote. We trolling.
Spoiler alert. I actually had him as a 4, so he definitely ain't gonna make my small forward list. he damn sure.
Yeah, so shout out to Penn for getting Scottie Barnes on the list. I knew there wasn't going to be much worth talking about. with him making it. Penn even said he just did it because why not? He kind of just
Fair.
threw away his 10th place vote. Shout out to Scottie Barnes. There's not much to say. Good young player, plays defense, can pass the ball, tries to shoot threes, can't shoot them right now. That's it. That's Scottie Barnes. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Plays for
On
the
to
Raptors, man.
he does play for the Raptors. He does. And then on to the more serious names we got. We did get 1/10th place vote for someone who I do think is quite underrated. It came from Jordan, and that is Bernard King. He was the only person to vote for Bernard King. I'm gonna. Do you guys feel comfortable talking about Bernard King? Did you guys consider him for your list?
I can talk about him a little bit. I can talk about Bernard King.
Go ahead, John D.
Bernard King, I do think he was one of the better scorers in his era. The only thing that I looked at him was I don't think he was better than anyone on my list, and he also missed. He did not play in the playoffs as much. Now I know there is somebody on my list that I made an exception for, but I do think the gap is like pretty big. So that's just what kept Bernard King off my list. I don't know if he won a scoring title. I do think he did.
He did. Jordan's rookie year. I remember that vividly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Shout out to Bernard
I had
King.
many debates about that season. For me, the issue was just longevity. That was my issue with Bernard King, longevity. Knee injuries kind of derailed some things for him.
Yeah.
Just the lack of availability. But as a scorer, he's one of them. I remember first time I went back and watched him, I believe it was a game against the Bulls, and it might have been in Jordan's rookie year. Bernard King was going crazy. Like, that's the first game I remember watching of him. I was like, I like this guy. Baseline jumper was automatic. One dribble pull up, get into the mid range with consistency. Uber efficient. Refused to shoot a three. Just refused. He wouldn't shoot it. But when he get within 18 feet, automatic. Really good athlete. Really good first step. Got to the free throw line. Of that mold of many guys who get respected throughout NBA history, are just the scorers who aren't really relied on to do anything else other than score the ball. And he was one of the best at doing that. But ultimately, the longevity did hold him back. So I didn't have him on the list, and I'm not sure. I'd assume that's probably the thing that left him out of most of you guys' lists, just the longevity.
Yeah,
stuff.
It was longevity, and I feel like his peak years were kind of spread out. Like, just in terms from a statistical standpoint, his rookie year, he averaged about 24 a game. I think then like 6-7 years later, he jumped up to like 28. Then it was 32. Then he didn't score 28 a game until like the last year of his career or something like that towards the back end. So it was a lot of spread out. For the most part, he was around the 21, 22 point per game scorer. And I think that's really good. I do think Bernard King is underrated. I think he is one of the best scorers his era. It's just the guys I have in front of him, I think we're better. One guy gets the insane Bill Russell tax, but that does not matter here.
Bill Russell tax. Okay. And then the other guy with one vote, so one 10th place vote. There was someone else with one vote, but it wasn't in 10th. It came from Carson from Nerd Sesh. I'm surprised this guy only did get one vote. It was Jayson Tatum. It was Jayson Tatum. Now, the reaction I'm being met with, I want to go straight to Riv. What's so funny about Jayson Tatum? Enlighten me.
Oh, man.
I probably shouldn't have laughed that hard. I
didn't expect it, but I'm here to hear the explanation.
But Tatum, I just don't think he's if longevity is probably a top 2 or 3 thing you have to be on a top 10 all-time list, at least be really high in all-time list. And I just don't think Tatum has the longevity. Plus, I think for Tatum, just the way people talk about him in today's game and how people kind of don't respect the way he plays and kind of says he has these inconsistency nights, I just am shocked that he did make the list. I don't think, he's over a guy we're probably going to talk about later, but I'll say his name anyway. Anyways, I don't think he's over a guy like Paul Pierce. I think that's probably the one guy he's probably chasing. I think player for player, I would argue Tatum is better, but just in terms of the longevity all time, I think he has to catch Paul Pierce first, and Paul Pierce would be at the bottom of my list. I didn't mean to laugh that hard. I apologize, Tatum. I do apologize. I didn't mean to laugh that hard.
I think he's already clicked off the video. Jayson, I think he's already clicked off the video. The moment it's over.
Just call me off guard.
Jayson Tatum's tricky because there are moments where Jayson Tatum looks like one of the best playoff scorers in the league. When that pull-up three-point shot is falling, on top of being 6'9" and being able to play inside the arc and have the ball handled to beat you off the dribble and have the strength to finish around the rim, when that shot is falling, he looks like one of the best postseason scorers in the league. But then it's the swing factor when the pull-up jumper is not falling and he has 17 points on like 15 shots. It just doesn't look great. But when you look at like the offensive versatility as an off-ball player, as a driver, you look at the versatile defense. I'm not saying he has a case, but if he continues, I think he will have a really strong case. I do think he'll have a really strong case.
I'd argue that his problem, he's dangerous when he just decides he's 6'10 and 250. Like,
and goes to the rim.
Is exaggeration.
Yeah,
that's when he's fuck the pull-up. Like, if the pull-up's in, if whether it's going for him, I think it's when he realizes I'm 6'10, I'm extremely strong, I'm physical, and I'm one of the best finishers at my position. Just go to the rim every single time. They cannot stop you. That's when I think he's at his best. When he starts to do all the flashy, cute, let me do this stupid side step three on a big man. Let me get cute. Like this, when you start doing shit like that, it's like, come on, we don't need you to do that. You are 6'10, you're a great finisher. Get to that rim.
And a few years ago, I was like a week ago, I was watching Tatum in 22 and 23. He was getting to the rim. He was cutting to the basket. Out of pick and roll, he would like split the pick and roll and go to the rim. Now it feels like he just pulls up. Even when I was watching the Knicks series, he would get the switch on Jalen Brunson and just pull up, or pull up on Karl Anthony Towns. And if he were to leverage that strength and finishing ability, I think he would be a much better scorer. I do think the scoring from Tatum from 23 to 25 is like night and day. Like, I think he's like almost a completely different scorer now.
Yeah, a worse scorer.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he's gotten much better as a playmaker and passer since then, but as a scorer, I'm not gonna lie. Like, because when Tatum decides to like go at the rim, like against Cleveland, he was like, Evan Mobley, come here. Jared Allen, come here. Darius Garland, I'm about to punish you. I would prefer that a lot more, but when that pull-up three is falling, that's a hard thing to stop. That's a hard guy to stop.
You said there was another Paul you wanted to talk about, and I assume it's not Paul Arizon.
Nah.
I assume it's Paul George.
Yes.
Talk to me about Paul George, because spoiler alert, he didn't get any votes. So
what?
I'm
a Paul George fan. That's egregious.
I considered Paul
then
George.
Why you ain't vote for him?
No, I'm saying
it's egregious. It's egregious. The other 17 ain't vote for him.
Okay.
I can't go vote for him. I thought one of you guys are going to do it.
Wait, Mars, misinterpreted. I was saying that's egregious if John thinks he deserves to be on the list.
Okay.
No, I
wasn't sure. I wasn't sure for a minute because it's like you could have voted for him.
I should explain that.
Okay, word.
Yeah. I should have voted for him. I did not vote for him. And I'm a PG. Love him to death. No,
I considered PG for like a quick second. I considered PG. Just the defense, the scoring, especially in like 2019, where he was a really good 3-point shooter. In Indiana, he was a really good defender. Some things is just like the inconsistency in the playoffs is something.
He gets the Bernard King tax, bro. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. So that's really what took me away from putting him on the list. There's another small forward I do want to talk about. I'm gonna see if he got any votes first. I don't think he did, but I'm gonna see.
Was there anything you wanted to say about Jayson Tatum? Well, we got 17, but we got through 2 of them already, and then we just added Paul George, so we got 15 names left. Was there anything you wanted to say about Jayson Tatum? Gifted?
Yeah, I think that Tatum is simultaneously sometimes he could be the most underrated and overrated player in the NBA. I think that people expect a lot from him because he can technically do pretty much everything on the basketball floor, but the consistency of being like really elite at 1 or 2 of those things consistently, that can really fluctuate with him. I'm wondering how he'll look after he comes back from injury. What do y'all think about that?
That's
I don't know what Achilles means anymore. I don't know if KD has just skewed my perspective of the injury. But like, I don't know what to expect. Is the Achilles turning into the new ACL where you can come back and still be really good, or is it still a death sentence for careers? I don't know. I obviously hope Jayson Tatum doesn't lose much in terms of his quickness or movement and his mobility. But if he does, then we're going to see a Jayson Tatum that needs to become an elite shooter, and he hasn't quite got to that threshold yet. So if he does lose what most people do lose off an Achilles, I can see him not being the same level of player he is right now, which I deem as a top 7 player in the NBA. Maybe he's top 15, top 20, whatever. But hopefully he comes back and is still himself. But I wouldn't put money on it. But that doesn't mean I don't think it's going to happen. It's just not something I'm willing to put money on.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think he's top 7 certified. Probably top 8, top 7, whatever. But he's locked in there. I think the difference between him and Kevin Durant was already an elite shooter prior to the injury. So he really didn't. He for the most part, Kevin Durant doesn't really rely on athleticism too much. He's 7 feet tall. Especially now. It didn't really, he came off the injury. He was fine. Back to the mid-range. Probably just stop attacking the rim as much, but the mid-range still there. The 3-ball is there. The handle is there. With Tatum, it's a little bit different because like Mars mentioned, not an elite 3-point shooter, not an elite mid-range shooter, well, consistently an elite mid-range shooter. So heavily relies on that strength and that rim pressure. And I think it's really tricky. He is the youngest out of most of the guys, outside of maybe Hallie, that's had an Achilles injury. So youth is on his side. Definitely interested to see, but they'll wait the process out. So he'll have a good long recovery time, and I think that's really important.
So, like, do you think that like this is the best version of Tatum we'll ever see, or do you think there's any way he gets better after the injury?
It's probable we've seen the best of Tatum. I hope not, because I don't want to see someone's career get stopped by an injury.
Right.
But more often than not, if an Achilles injury happens, I would probably bet on that being we've seen the best of them. Now, he can still be great, and I anticipate he will be top 10 when it's all said and done. That would be my guess. But I do think I don't think he's going to be better than he was pre-Achilles. I have a hard time seeing that. But I think go ahead. I
think there's a layer he can get to with his IQ on the offensive end. I think maybe not quote unquote better, but just be a lot more smarter on both ends of the basketball. I think defensively he's fine. It's just offensively, if he can just become a little bit more smart, especially now with that Achilles injury, how that's going to look. I think that really is the important part.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
Now that we've got all the 1-point getters out of the way, we do move on to our 14th place technically. With 4 points, he did only get 1 vote. Like only one person had him, but that person ended up having him in 7th. It's Adrian Dantley. Yeah, it's Adrian Dantley.
Adrian Dantley, man. Ooh.
And my guy Pirate had him at 7, and he told me to read this. I'm going to read what he said verbatim. He said, for 7 consecutive seasons, Adrian Dantley averaged 30 points per game on over 56% shooting. Nobody in history, not Wilt, not MJ, not Shaq, has done that. Case closed, all-time great. I don't care how many dribbles you take. 30 points per game on 56% is not losing basketball. You can blame anyone on the team except the guy giving you 30 points per game on 56%.
How many years did he say it was for? 7 straight years of 30?
For 30 points on 56% shooting for 7 consecutive years.
He lied. It wasn't 7. It wasn't 7. I had to make sure. I wanted to hear you right, so I asked you to repeat it again. It wasn't 7. It wasn't 7 years straight.
I'm looking at 4.
I'm on 4, and I rounded a few to help, and it still wasn't helping.
to give Pirate the benefit of the doubt, I'm going to assume, when you highlight the seasons on Basketball Reference, the average is probably 56%. The average is probably 56%. Yeah, that's what I'm going to assume. I'm not going to check, but I'd assume it was 7 seasons. The average was about 56%. Even if the
percentage he got clean, the percentage he got right.
It wasn't
the points. Man. The points was capped. It was like 28 though, so I'm being mean. But we got a nitpick here when we talk about the all-time greats. I don't have any negative connotation towards Adrian Dantley. Like, I really don't.
Yeah,
but
you just didn't have him on the list.
I did not. Honestly, he didn't even process in my brain. I'm just going to keep it 100 with him. Like Adrian Dantley did not come up.
There. Yeah, I'm there. Yeah,
I thought about him. I disagree with his case of I don't care how many dribbles you take. I do. I'm sorry. I have a hard time saying it's winning basketball when you take 18 seconds off the clock to score. Like, I understand that's 56% from the field, but that means the other 44% of the time we've got nothing. Not to mention the times where he doesn't shoot the ball, and now we're playing late in the clock because you've decided to waste the whole clock trying to face up.
Very interested to see where he has Charles Barkley.
Walk me up. We'll find out next Mars. Walk me through this because maybe you can help me out here with a little bit of Adrian. He played with Malone, Stockton, and Eaton, right?
He was on that Jazz team. Yes,
He was in the early 80s.
He wasn't on. He was there in the mid 80s. I don't know.
Mid 80s.
Like he was there like 85 ish. So like we're talking
Mhm.
about. I don't even know if John Stockton was starting yet consistently, but he played with number 32. He played with Markey, and he was on that Jazz team. And then he went to
Okay.
Detroit with Isaiah.
Okay.
Isaiah
Okay.
and then he went to Dallas, and then Detroit started winning. It's like, oh, they lost Dantley and they
Yep.
started winning. But it's just me personally, I'm just not amazing scorer. I just better one-on-one player than a 5-on-5 player, in my opinion.
I'm with
Just
that.
I have an issue with the way in which he got his buckets. I've had that opinion for a while, but amazing scorer. One of the best of the 80s for sure. Another guy who got no votes, Alex English, one of the best scorers of the 80s. So giving him his
Denver
flowers.
legend.
But also got no votes. So a few
Did you
guys
give
who
him a
didn't get
vote?
any votes. No,
Oh, okay.
he's not top 10 to me, but I just thought Swiper or someone who's from Denver would have been like, oh, Alex English. But no one decided to recognize him. So that's that for Adrian Dantley. We are now on to people who got more than one person to vote for them. So this is the people who probably actually had a chance of making the list. We're into 13th place. Actually, John D, you had this person on your list. You had them at 10th.
Okay.
And Gifted, you had him at 9th. So I'm gonna go to you guys first. He
Okay.
had 11 points. ZZ also had him at 10th. Ron had him in 10th. KB had him in 8th. And Jordan had him in 8th. I am talking about Carmelo Anthony. Gifted, you had him the highest of anyone up here. Talk to me about Carmelo Anthony and why you had him in 9th.
Yeah,
And I'm seeing more after. This is ridiculous, but go ahead.
Yeah. So listen, Carmelo Anthony couldn't be higher on this list for me. I just think that at his best, like he was a very, very dominant type of scorer in different ways. His defensive motor and ability really, really waned at his best. I really struggled with where he should be on the list. I just felt like he needed to have some type of representation within the top 10. And I felt like he was good enough to warrant that type of place. I still think at his best, he had like the strangest combination of power with I actually can beat you off of the bounce pretty consistently than pretty much anyone else on this list for me. So that's kind of why I had him in that range. But if you say he's lower, I can understand that perspective as well.
Carmelo Anthony, I think, is like one of the more creative scorers, especially like once he gets to his Knicks tenure where he adds that strength, because he does lose a step. He's still extremely fast, but having that mid-range, having that jab step mid-range, the triple threat, the post spins, all those things, really good tough shot maker as well, in my opinion. I couldn't have him any higher on the list because when I watch him like off the ball, he gets lost. Like on ball, he can be solid, but off the ball, he can like follow the ball a lot defensively. So that's just something I looked at and was like, I don't know if I can have him any higher on the list. But as a scorer, I think Melo is towards the top. I would say maybe tier 3 of scorers. So yeah, I had to put Melo on this list on top of some people I just didn't put on the list. But yeah, I had Melo on at 10.
Riv, I need an explanation of who the laughter I'm seeing.
I heard somebody had him at 8. I thought 8 was a little too high. 8 for Carmelo.
Two people had him at 8.
Man.
Shout out to Jordan and Ron. Jordan and KB. Sorry, Jordan and KB.
I think that is as like aesthetically pleasing number. Like putting him at 8 just because you loved watching Carmelo Anthony. Because if we're being 100% honest with Carmelo Anthony and who Carmelo Anthony was as a player, he was a bona fide one-on-one scorer, one of the best in the business at doing that. Horrible on defense. Sometimes get tunnel vision. Good rebounder, though. When he was locked in, he can guard well in the post. I thought he was good at playing the 3-4, mainly the 4 on defense, because he was a really good post defender. But like you mentioned, get lost off ball. I'm not going to say he wasn't a good passer. He just wasn't a willing passer because he can make some good passes when needed to. He just wasn't a willing passer. And I just think Melo, it's tough because Melo probably should have accomplished a lot more in his career. Like it feels like his career feels a little bit just not finished. Like 6-time All-NBA, 10-time All-Star. I just feel like he could have did a lot more. Didn't have the greatest teams, but in Denver, I thought he was pretty productive. But when you hit that top 10, I'll be honest, like with all due respect, you need a ring. I'm sorry. You got to get one. Get close to one. Get one. I'm sorry. I need all the guys I have champions.
I think I feel that way about like the higher end of the list. I don't think the full top 10 you have to have a ring to be in. I don't like. I think that should basically fluctuate for every position for me.
Riv, you know I can see your list, right?
Yeah, who on my list don't got a ring? Oh shit! You're right. That's on me.
Wait, so
I forgot. You know
we're not gonna say it. We're gonna get to them. I'm just
putting
out there.
I forgot.
Yeah, just putting out there.
You need that ring.
I forgot.
Ignore that. I forgot. Ignore that.
Just putting out there. But Melo for me,
my friend.
Yeah, Melo for me didn't make the list. He
okay.
And I found this out watching Melo's pod not too long ago, and it all added up. He said, like, his rookie year, his first few years in the league, Adrian Dantley was an assistant coach on the Nuggets.
They play alike.
And that just, it made sense. I was like,
the way you described
it, I want to hold the ball for 15 seconds. It's coaching you.
Melo.
I was like, oh, okay.
Melo,
so that
Melo
really
should have won
added
rookie of the year, though. I'll say that. Melo should have won rookie of the year. I'll say that. I've never heard.
I think that's debatable.
The only times I've heard people care so much about rookie of the year was Ben Simmons' year and Bron and Melo's year. Every other year means nothing. I don't think people really care too much about it. People had their opinions, but people were outraged about the Melo Bron one or the Ben Simmons one.
How did Ben Simmons get it? He's not really
they're the only times I've ever heard people genuinely care about it. Even like the Wemby Chet one for a couple months, but then Wemby just took over. But anyway, back to Melo. For me, ball stopper is an accurate term in my opinion. Really talented scorer, really good one-on-one. One thing that I think gets missed with Melo is, especially young Melo, he lived at the rim. Like, he was just getting to the rim consistently.
He did.
One of the best first steps I've seen for a human that size ever. Like, the athleticism, the ability to get by people was ridiculous, and that's how he was able to get to the rim, find finishing angles. He wasn't the greatest finisher because he didn't like finish over people very well, but he got there with consistency and got to the free throw line and all that stuff. And then as he refined his game and became a better jump shooter, you got the full scoring arsenal, the face up stuff, the 17 jab steps into a jump shot, all of that great stuff. But for me, just he fell into the Adrian Dantley mode. So all the reasons I don't have Adrian Dantley are similar reasons why I don't have Melo. Melo just had more longevity, and I was like, I value that, so I did consider him. But then I look at my list and I'm like, he wasn't going to make it. When I look at my number 10, he just wasn't going to make it over him. So he just didn't really have much chance. But Melo was one of the greatest scorers I've ever seen. Really talented. I just think this is a testament to how good the position is that Melo only made it onto 5 lists, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lists. 6 of 18. So a third of the list had Melo. I think that's just a testament to how good the position is, because in some other positions, maybe he would have made it. But anyway, that's 13. We are now on to 12th place. This guy had 18 points, so 7 more points than Melo. Amongst us, did any of us have him? John D, you had him in 9th. I think you're the only one who had him of us 4. Yeah, you are. You're the only one who had him up here.
Here we go again.
ZZ had him in 8th. Chill had him in 10th. Real Talk had him in 9th. Ox had him in 10th. KB had him in 9th. Penn had him in 9th. And Swiper had him in 10th. We are talking about Mr. Big Game himself, James Worthy. John D, if you are with us, talk to me about James Worthy. I'm seeing more laughter. This is ridiculous.
Bro,
actually,
we got
it. You know what? Before John D explains why he has James Worthy, Riv, what's funny about James Worthy?
I'm not laughing at James Worthy, bro. I'm just laughing at the fact that John is the only one that had him up there out of us. That's all. I
like James Worthy's game, man. I think
what you like
maybe some of his transition game was boosted because he was playing with one of the best transition players ever in Magic Johnson. But outside of transition, I think he had a really good first step, and I think he could get to the rim consistently with the ball in his hand, putting the ball on the floor and having a really good first step. He had a solid post game that he can get to at times, and he had a solid mid-range shot that he can get to as well. Just having that and being able to score consistently, especially in transition on a team that pushes transition the way they do. Magic Johnson is the main catalyst of that, but I do think James Worthy played a really big factor in that as well. And being able to be that scorer in the half court, especially when Kareem started to slow down, I think that was really valuable for me to have him on the list.
I like it.
I considered him.
You know what? I'm not gonna say I didn't. I did, but I can see why. Like after hearing what you said, I can see why. James Worthy, unfortunately, I feel like he just don't have the insane numbers. I think that's probably the thing that holds him back. And him kind of, walking into being just not a role player, but understanding his role with those teams, like you mentioned, behind Magic, behind Kareem, was able to step up though when Kareem was falling out. Him and Magic did their thing late in the 80s. James Worthy was a big time shot maker, really good defender. I think that was important, but he kind of reminds me of like a Klay Thompson for the Warriors, where he was kind of that second to third guy. You kind of know, but he's not going to have the crazy numbers that can propel him onto these type of lists.
I considered James Worthy. Once again, ultimately didn't make the cut for me, for a multitude of reasons. Reason number one, I just don't think he peaked as high as some of the guys I have on my list. I think he sustained a level that was really good from when he entered the league in 82, 83, wherever year he entered, until he got hurt in the early 90s. But I think defensively, I agree with Riv. Really underrated defender. Someone who could protect the rim, who could guard wings, could take assignments that Magic Johnson was unable to take. Really good in transit. really good in transition. Really good filling lanes, finishing at the rim. Really good isolation scorer, and that became more valuable as Kareem started to fade. He was someone you could give the ball to. He could attack quick. Really good first step. Could get to the rim. All of that good stuff. But ultimately, I just think the peak just wasn't high enough. Everyone who I didn't have, I looked at my number 10 and thought, do I think you're better than him? And the answer just ended up being no. Now, that might just mean I had my number 10 too low, which we'll get to. Or it means there's just a high bar to get into the top 10. And ultimately, James Worthy just couldn't cross it. But really good playoff performer. Did win championships. So if that's the things you care about, he was a big part of some championship teams, finals MVP, all of that good stuff. But ultimately just didn't peak quite high enough for me to have him on my list. Is there anything you guys want to add to James Worthy?
I mean, if you love portability, he probably would be one of those guys in the 80s and 90s that can plug and play with probably anybody. So that would help his case a ton. You mentioned it. He was really he was really good for what you needed him to do in big time moments. He was extremely consistent, very steady. So I get why he's getting love. Like guys like that, you can't find those a lot. And he was a key catalyst for a lot of championship teams. So honestly, a dynasty in the 80s, he was a part of that, man.
He was absolutely a part of that. We are now getting close to our top 10. We're at number 11. Before I reveal number 11, I want to say number 10 and number 11 were separated by 1 point. So this guy missed out on the top 10 by 1 point.
Do you know who the 1 point separator was?
Well, it's just anyone. If anyone had him one spot higher, he would have been tied.
Oh, yeah, true. That's fair.
So he had 22 points. Number 10 had 23. This is a guy who was on the list for Low. Low had him at 10. Chill had him at 9. Ox had him at 9. KB had him at 10. Pirate had him at 9. Gifted, you had him at 8. Riv, you had him at 9. Swiper had him at 8. And Jordan had him at 5.
Oh, get the fuck out of town. Yo.
Shout out to Jordan. But I am talking about Dominique Wilkins. Someone with no championships. Yeah, someone with no championships who is on Riv's list.
I fucked up on that.
So I'm gonna go straight to you. Talk to me about Dominique Wilkins. Why you had him on the list, obviously at 9, and why he's above some of the guys you didn't have on the list with no championships.
The championship thing was honestly a mistake. Mars is gonna probably bring that up for the rest of the episode. I respect the hell out of that. But just Dominique Wilkins, man. I find myself watching his tape and falling more and more in love with it because I just loved how he understood what he can do. He understood his limitations, and it didn't stop him from being one of the best scorers of the 80s and 90s. I'm talking about a dude who used to go to war with Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, all these guys. Like, he was at the top of his game defensively. I felt like he was better in help. Honestly, he was a really good rebounder for his position, extremely efficient at the rim for the amount of attempts he does take, extreme dominant rim pressure. And I think he just gets taxed because he didn't have the best Atlanta Hawks teams. I think they were good, but they definitely weren't teams where you're thinking like this team can win a title one year, stuff like that. And I think he does get underappreciated. But Dominique Wilkins, the human highlight, dominant scorer inside the paint, honestly, really wasn't a three-point shooter, but can do a little bit of everything. Kind of like how people view, trying to think of an NBA comp. I feel like, I don't even want to bring up his name, but like he's extremely disrespectful. But Dominique Wilkins, man, I feel like he should have been top 10. He was super, super dominant. I was gonna say DeMar DeRozan, but he's just better than DeMar DeRozan. But play style, like, kind of similar.
Gifted, you had him at 8.
Yeah, man, I like Dominique, man. I think he was easily one of the most athletic players really to ever play the sport. On 2 of his best Atlanta teams, I'm pretty sure like he led the team in scoring, and then like the next best player probably had 16 points per game or something like that. Like those teams were good teams because they, still were like top 3 teams in like the Eastern Conference and whatnot. But overall, I felt like if he had better talent around him, he could have probably produced a little bit better. I also think that he was good for a super long time, and has to overcome a ton of different things and obstacles in his career, But outside of that, I think he is definitely deserving of a top 10 spot. There's a lot of good guys in the NBA, so if he doesn't make some people's list, I can understand that. But I thought he was very good.
Yeah, really good player. One of the few that came back from an Achilles injury and still looked great. Give a lot of credit for that. Really, really good scorer. I think the way he's viewed versus how he actually played are 2 different things. The way people talk about him, if you've never watched him, I think people just think he was like Giannis, just running and dunking on everyone. He's not. He really is like kind of the opposite of that. Played off the ball really well, really good offensive rebounder. Shot a lot of mid-range jumpers, which was a common thing for the time. Like, I'm not saying, how dare he. Common thing for the time. It's why his efficiency was never top tier for someone with his finishing ability, his athleticism. Not the greatest playmaker, not the greatest defender. Could do things in help, to Riv's point, but not the greatest defender. Didn't actually move his feet all that well on the outside in terms of perimeter defense. Once again, for someone of his frame, athleticism, maybe that's a bit surprising. Not much of a self-creator or creator for others. Not someone who you'd give the ball to create, either for himself or for others. His handle wasn't extremely functional. All of these things are why I ultimately knocked him down a little bit. I just didn't view him in the same ilk offensively as some of the other guys I had. And then the ones who were as limited as him offensively in terms of creation either were like dominant defensively, or I was just more impressed by their longevity. So ultimately he just didn't make the cut for me, but really talented, really good off-ball player. I would love the way his game would fit in a multitude of eras. So if you value that, that obviously makes sense, because he could play alongside any point guard, any playmaker. You put Dominique Wilkins alongside him, he's going to fill lanes, he's going to crash, he's going to catch lobs, all of that great stuff. Dominant 2-foot jumper, but ultimately just not enough for me in the creation department. I mean, shit,
I get it.
Give him Trae Young.
Trae Young
was out there with Doc Rivers. Yeah, he was out there with Doc
Dominique. That'd be crazy. Ooh, the Pacers.
The Obi Toppin replacement. Yeah, I mean,
I like that. I like that a ton. Yeah, for sure.
That's the type of team you put, a team that plays fast, team that has a initiator, a playmaker, so he doesn't have to do that, so he can thrive off the ball, fill lanes, all of that good stuff. That's where you maximize Dominique Wilkins, and to maximize Dominique Wilkins is a top 10-ish small forward. Just too limited offensively for me to have him on my list, but totally understand how people have him on their list now. Don't understand how Jordan got him at 5th, but
5 is kind of high.
It is what it is.
Nuts.
What a little bit high.
It is what it is. But he did ultimately come in 11th. Is there anything that you want to add, John D?
I do think he has some really good footwork down low, like the way he was able to maneuver through traffic, especially when he picked his ball up and got to the rim. I think that was valuable. But yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. I didn't think he was as good defensively. That's why I didn't have him over my 9 or 10.
I also think I'm one who thinks James Worthy's a better player, personally. But I understand that's contentious, well, all that stuff. So neither one of them made my list, but they would be the closest cuts, I guess.
I'll say this. The you really need a ring to be in the top 5. That's a serious.
I was trying to tell you that. Like
you really need a ring to be in the top 5. Like, come on, Wilk
bro,
at 5.
I can understand top 5. Saying 10 whole spots, you have to have one ring to be.
Yeah, that was
like
nuts. That's on me. But 5, you need a ring, bro. Like,
okay.
Wilk in the 5. Oh man,
I can hear that. I can hear that perspective. Yeah,
I gotta see his list.
Ooh, I would love to see your reaction to where he had Steph on the top 10 point guards. But
and Rockets fans,
it's not that crazy. He had him at 3. It's not like he had him at 7. He had him at 3. It's not that bad.
Who's in front of him?
Magic and Jerry West. But it doesn't matter.
Jerry who?
We're on to the small forwards. We don't need to look at the past. If you want to see the top 10 point guards list, that's on the channel. Go check it out. We had to do it in 2 parts because the stream crashed. Hopefully that doesn't happen today.
Crazy.
Anyway, we are entering the top 10. So a quick rundown for anyone who has missed it. There were 17 names in total. Tied in 17th place with 1 10th place vote each was Bernard King, Jayson Tatum, and Scottie Barnes. Next, in 14th place with 4 points, 1 7th place vote was Adrian Dantley. In 13th place with 11 points was Carmelo Anthony. In 12th place with 18 points was James Worthy. And in 11th place with 22 points was Dominique Wilkins. Now on to the top 10. This is the first name. Oh, I think this is the first time this happened. Every player who made the top 10 is in my top 10.
Wow.
So that's cool. Different order, but this
real quick, Mars. Before we get to top 10, make sure to like the video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. All that type of stuff. Appreciate y'all. Let's get to these hoop talks. Let's do it.
Let's just make him the host right quick since he can do my job better than me. Well, damn.
You know.
But thank you for that. Yeah, subscribe, all that good stuff. Or not if you don't want to, but ideally you do. Anyway, number 10. This is a player who I had in 9th. John D, you had him in 8th. ZZ had him in 9th. Tyler from Hoop Venue, who was on last week, had him in 8th. Ox had him in 6th. Yep, 6th. Riv, you had him in 10th. Dream had him in 9th, and Jordan had him in 6th. I am talking about Boston Celtics legend Paul Pierce. I'm gonna go straight. Yeah, I'm gonna go straight to you, John D, since you had the highest of all of us up here. Talk to me about Paul Pierce.
I think Paul Pierce was able to, especially in his early years, I think he got to the rim really well. I think he had really good counters like post spins, the ability to play through traffic and finish around the rim. He got to the rim a lot in his early days, but then once he started aging a little bit more, he added his mid-range, he added the tough shot making, he added the post game. I think he was a solid passer as well, especially an interior passer, and defense. I think he was solid as well there. So he had the longevity, he had the ability to adjust his scoring to how he aged. So that's why I had him on the top 10.
I guess I'll go next. I feel like Paul Pierce is the easiest guy to put up. Well, not the easiest, but one of the easiest guys to put up here, and it's clear why he's consensus. Paul Pierce was the slowest fast player I've ever seen in my life. I mean, the way this dude moves so slow, but he's so fast, so twitchy. IQ's there, the footwork is there, can get to his spots. And like you mentioned, John, his earlier days, he was able to get to that rim a lot, but that jump shot was smooth money. The truth, always super clutch. Was able to scale his game a bit when he got a little bit older and more star players started coming to Boston. Even still was super reliable when he played for other teams like Washington Wizards, for example. Was able to be a clutch guy for them in the playoffs, able to just be that mentor, that, really good role player next to guys like John Wall and stuff. But extremely portable, great player, really good 3-level scorer. Underrated defender. People always talk about him getting cooked by Braun. It's Braun, but in all these other star players, but always took the challenge, took the assignments. I liked what he did on defense, just in terms of being aggressive and being able to give it back to other players too, because I think that's really important, just to have that type of attitude. The truth, man.
Yeah, Paul Pierce is someone who I'm a consistent advocate for. I think he's extremely underrated because of things he's said about himself in post-career that has led to people just kind of dismissing how good he truly was. And then also the fact that he didn't really have deep postseason runs until he was already outside of his peak. So people are judging him based on years that I don't think are his best. I think Paul Pierce peaked in the early 2000s. You were looking 01, 02 to 05-ish. That's when he still had... No, he wasn't the quickest, Still had some advantages, able to get by you, consistently get into the rim, drawing fouls, really crafty. Crafty is the term you use when people aren't fast, but I mean, I'll manage to succeed. So really crafty, really good outside shooter. I agree with Riv again. Someone who wasn't the most versatile defender, but could definitely defend his position. He could defend wings, and that's what in that era, that's what you ask your wings to do. You ask them to defend wings, and Paul Pierce could defend wings, whether that was star wings, role player wings. He was consistently just doing the right things. He wasn't someone who would constantly get beat off the ball on back cuts or whatever. He was constantly aware, engaged. Now, I'm not saying he never had breakdowns, but on average, aware, good rebounder, especially defensively. A really good shooter, really good off the ball, but someone who you could give the ball to in the mid post. He could get into the lane, pass, find teammates, all of that stuff. Just a really good offensive player. And that's what gave him the edge over a guy like Melo for me. I think his offensive game was more well-rounded, and I think he was a better defender than Melo. And then you add in the longevity. It's like we're looking at Paul Pierce being a really good player from 2001 to like 2011, 2012. We're getting a decade plus of Paul Pierce being one of the 10, 15 best players in the sport. Now, he never peaked as a top 5 guy, in my opinion, but consistently being in that group of 10, 15, that's really valuable to me. And that was enough just for me to get him into that 9 spot. I knew he was going to make the list. I did wonder if he was going to be 9 or 10. Ultimately settled on 9 because of the well-roundedness of his offensive game and then how I think he was just the king of versatility. And it's something he's called himself. Well, not the king, like the actual king, but like really good, really versatile. And it's something he talks about himself with how versatile he was. Now, he might go a bit too far. But overall, I do think Paul Pierce was just a really, really good player for a really, really long time. And that's going to be enough to get you into the back end of my list. But Gifted, you did not have Paul Pierce. Why not?
That was the toughest one for me. I had Paul Pierce in that conversation. I feel like the ones that just narrowly made it over him to me, I feel like at their best had kind of higher ceilings than Paul Pierce as a player. I think Paul Pierce is probably more portable than some of those names. So if people have him over those names, I can buy it. I think he's definitely top 10 deserving, but he didn't make my top 10 this time around. It was close though for me.
It was close. He didn't make it too. I mean, 1 point. Go ahead. Yeah,
I have a question. Gifted. I'm talking to you, Gifted. How the hell didn't Paul Pierce make your top 10? What's going on, man? Who you had over? You had Melo over him?
He had Melo at 9, so Melo did make it.
Gifted. That's Melo over Paul Pierce. That's a tough one. That's a tough pill. You think Melo is a better player? Like at their best?
I think Melo had more high-end regular seasons than Paul Pierce at his best. I think that Paul Pierce is a more portable player in terms of the other tangents of the game that Carmelo was not consistently great at. But I think the higher end of Melo overweight Paul Pierce, in my opinion.
Okay, so you're saying peak value.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't hate it. Melo's peak was pretty dope.
I do think Paul Pierce's floor, like, on both ends, though, was very, very good.
That's fair.
I just think Paul Pierce was better. But
there you go.
Hey,
who cares? I mean, Melo was where, 12th? Yeah, Melo was.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Melo was 13th. Melo was 13th. He had about half as many points as Paul Pierce. So Paul Pierce is twice as good. Confirmed. Anyway, number 9. This guy had 35 points, so quite comfortably above Paul Pierce. He was on my list at 7. I believe that's 7. Yep. My list at 7. John D's list at 7. Lowe's list at 7. He didn't make ZZ's list. He was on Tyler's list at 7. He didn't make Chill's list. Real Talk's list at 8. He didn't make Ox's list. He was on Ron's list at 9. He didn't make KB's list. He was on Pirate's list at 5. He didn't make your list, Gifted. He didn't make Penn's list. He didn't make Riv's list. Yep, he didn't make Riv's list. He was on Carson's list at 7, Dream's list at 7. He didn't make Swiper's list, and he didn't make Jordan's list. I am talking about Mr. Racist himself, Rick Barry. I'm going to start because I haven't started. Rick Barry is someone who I think the reason he's underrated is twofold. Threefold. One, he's racist. It's a valid reason to not really want to respect someone. 2, he played in the era where the ABA and the NBA was mixed and the 70s isn't vastly respected, and he played in both leagues. And 3, people just haven't gone out their way to watch him. Those are the 3 reasons. If you haven't taken time out to watch him, I advise you do. A true point forward, one of the better shooters in the league, an amazing passer, an amazing scorer who did it for a really long time. And if you are someone who values championships or whatever, I'm looking at you right below me.
Hey.
The Warriors' ability to win that NBA championship in 1975 is one of the more unlikely championship stories in NBA history. And that was spearheaded by Rick Barry, what he brought on the offensive side of the ball. One of the best offensive wings. I'm comfortable saying one of the best offensive wings we've ever seen, with his combination of passing and scoring. Really high IQ guy. Just someone who, there wasn't many holes in his game, and he was an amazing jump passer, really good at just reading defenses. The only issue I guess you could have was that he wasn't the best man defender, but he was a really good off-ball defender, forcing turnovers, reading defense. Like, he was just really smart guy who could shoot. I don't have many issues with him. The only reason he's not higher for me is that he played in the ABA for a stretch of years, and I'm not factoring the ABA into my evaluation because I haven't watched one ABA Rick Barry game. Not because I haven't tried to, because I can't find any, and I don't talk about things I can't watch. So that's the only reason he's not higher for me. He would be higher for me, but before I go to John D, who had him on the list, I want to ask to the people who did not have him on the list. So Gifted and Riv, why not?
There was a lot of ABA tax. I feel like a lot of his prime years or his elite years came in the NBA, ABA. He had a couple good years in the NBA. Had to go look up a little bit of some Rick Barry while I was doing this list to try to figure out, what was his game. And Mars, you said everything perfectly. He was probably the best all-around player at the time in the world. The problem is the bulk of his statistical work or the elite statistical years was in the ABA, and I'm pretty sure we were just talking about NBA, which I think he was still really good, but the longevity is not the same in the NBA. It was only about, I want to say 7-8 seasons. The production dropped a little bit in the NBA too, but great player, definitely taxed for the ABA stuff, and of course, definitely taxed for being a racist.
Valid tax, absolutely valid tax. Gifted.
And there's another guy we're going to talk about in Power Forward. He's getting taxed bad too, for obvious reasons.
I ain't against it.
For real.
I ain't against it. Shout out to Wemby,
bro.
Yeah, shout out to Wemby. Shout out to Wemby. But Gifted, why did he not make it for you?
Yeah, so he was a guy that there's limited film on. I was able to see some of it as I was trying to make this list, but I don't have a large experience of seeing like full unedited film of him on both ends outside of the occasional things I saw on YouTube. For me, 50% of it is the ABA tax. I would say 40% of it is the longevity, and 10% is obviously the racism. And I felt like the people that I had on the list were also deserving. So if there's anything to edge him out, it's probably that for me. But he was a pretty good player from what I was able to see. I didn't have the extensive privilege to watch him as much as the other people. And if I did, he might have gotten closer to making my list. But yeah, those are my taxes for him.
I can always send you a couple links. I'm down to share. Definitely down.
Bet,
to
okay.
share. I think
cool.
I think Rick Barry was really good, man. At a transition pull-up jump shooter, off pin downs, out of pick and roll. I think he was really good. I think Mars said it best as a defender off the ball. I think he was really good as well. The only thing is for me is from what I've seen, it didn't look like he pressured the rim as much. It looks like he settled on a lot of jump shots, and he was one of the better shooters in the league, maybe the best shooter in the league. But I would like to see him pressure the rim just a little bit more, because I'm sure there's another person on this list who I think pressured the rim a little bit more, which funny I didn't have him. But I think Rick Barry was a great offensive player, and I think he was one of the driving forces for why that Warriors team was so good. As a passer, I think he was a very good, accurate passer. He made a lot of quick decisions. He threaded the needle a lot. I just would like to see him create better advantages as he was passing the ball. Sometimes he would pass the ball into areas where he's not giving the best look for his teammates. That's something I factored in, but I still think he's a really good passer.
I think passing is probably the best thing he could do. I just want a little story time for people who may not know. the 1975 Warriors, and this is why I think they're probably one of the most unlikely title winners ever, and they don't get the respect because it was 1975. They was such unlikely finalists that their home court wasn't even available during the finals because
Really?
they didn't think the team would have made it to the finals. So Sesame Street was occupying their home court during the finals because they
That's
was
crazy.
like, we need to make some money in June and we ain't gonna have any NBA games. So Sesame Street on ice had the Warriors home court during the finals. While they were playing the Bullets, they had to play at a different arena because they couldn't host their own finals games. That's how unlikely they were deemed as finals winners, champions, whatever. And Rick Barry was by far and away the reason they won that championship. That regular season, he averaged 30 points per game. He came fourth in MVP, All NBA first team, then went into the playoffs and averaged 28 points per game, was by far and away the leading reason why they won that championship. Rick Barry, one of the highest peaks, in my opinion, at the small forward position. I understand the longevity tax somewhat because he did play 4 years in the ABA, but he came into the NBA as one of the best players in the league. And then he was still one of the best players in the league a decade later. So we are looking at 7-8 years being one of the best players in the NBA. And then some added years where he's still a really good player. That longevity mixed with that peak that I view as really, really high is enough for me to get him onto the list at 7. But there was one guy from that era who I did deem to be, although he didn't peak as high, the longevity did just ultimately hold a bit too much weight for me. And we'll get to him later. But I did have Rick Barry at 7. One of the more underrated players for many reasons out of his control and one definitely within his control. But anyway, I'm not even going to say shout out to Rick Barry. I'm just going to say Rick Barry, 9th place.
Yeah, you can't even say
Anyway,
that, bro.
Yeah, 9th place. There we go. Into 8th place. This is the guy who I said was the one who I favored the longevity. For everyone, I had him at 5. So I think I may have had him the highest here. I had him at 5. John D, you did not have him. Lowe had him at 9. ZZ did not have him. Tyler had him at 10. Chill had him at 6. Real Talk had him at 10. Ox had him at 8. Ron did not have him. KB did not have him. Pirate had him at 10. Gifted, you had him at 6. Penn had him at 8. Oh, Riv, you had him at 5 with me. You had him at 5. Carson had him at 8. Dream had him at 10. And Swiper had him at 9. I'm gonna kick this off with Riv because you had him the highest alongside me. But we are talking about Mr. Better than Michael Jordan himself, if you look at Basketball Reference, John Havlicek. Talk to me about John Havlicek.
Oh, man. Listen. This guy, the Bill Russell tax. Nah, all jokes aside, though, I think he was a really, really good player, like an extremely underrated player. And I say Bill Russell tax because a lot of those guys that played with Bill Russell, people kind of just chalk it up to, well, they had Bill Russell, they had a dominant team. But when you watch John Havlicek film, really good transition player, can get out and run, had a nice little pull-up, loved the pin downs coming off the screens, boom, bow. Release was perfect, release was quick, can get it up fast. Good ball handler, too, especially for that type of era. Had a nice little 1-2 crossover, really good ball handler, solid passer. The word I want to use is the effort was there on the boards. He wanted to grab rebounds. He was there on the offensive glass, there on the defensive glass. Kind of just a jack of all trades in terms of just being able to do a little bit of everything in his arsenal of skills. And I think that's really important for a team that has a number one guy, which is Bill Russell, but John Havlicek was the guy on offense who I think was really their guy, like in terms of just being their best shooter, one of their best passers, good ball handler. I really loved what I've seen from him after watching him. So John Havlicek, obviously, he has a ton of rings and all that, but I think just as a player, he's right up there with a lot of these guys relative to era.
Yeah, I wasn't up on Havlicek when I was making this list, but I was up late last night, and I'm like, you know what? Let me see what's to this guy. He definitely would have been on my list. Yeah, he definitely would have been on my list had I would have watched him as I was making the list. Defensively, his footwork on the perimeter and his timing when contesting jump shots and layups, I think was really good. You mentioned it, off curl screens, off pin downs. I think he was really good as well in transition. I think he averaged like upwards of 6 or 7 assists post Bill Russell. I think it may have took like 2 to 3 years before he really started reaching like maybe just under 30 points per game, but there was points where he was averaging like 28, 9, and 7, something like that. Just being able to facilitate, create, play defense, and play in transition. He also had some possessions in the pick and roll as well, showing a really good first step out of that as well. He was 6'5", but he looked a little taller just based off of how he played and how he defended. John Havlicek would have definitely made my list had I locked in earlier.
So you just not logged in, but I respect it. I respect the admission. We've all been there. There's some changes I would have made in the past 2 weeks already. But yeah, John Havlicek, someone I'm really high on. The longevity is the big reason why. I don't think he peaked as high as a guy like Rick Barry, for example, but he was just really good for a really long time. Came off the bench to start his career, obviously. That Celtics team deems as a super team. Having John Havlicek off your bench. Really good defender, was a good passer, wasn't the greatest playmaker, wasn't someone who you'd rely on to create offense at that point, but was someone who was still impacting the game, really good defensively, for example. And then as Bill Russell started to fade and then he retired, you saw John Havlicek really step up and become that offensive player, not a superstar offensive player, but someone who was really reliable offensively, someone who could do a whole lot of things. Extremely versatile, really active off the ball. One of the highest motors I've ever seen, by the way. I've never seen for that era. I understand everyone was running up and down, but he was running up and down, side to side. He was running all over the court, whether that's off screens, without screens, just trying to cut into open space. Really good rebounder. Like he was just constantly working. Became a good shooter later on in his career. Was never the most efficient scorer, and that is a sort of tax, I guess. Like when we're talking about comparing these guys, not being able to really be that level of efficiency does hold you back. But was a really good passer, defensively, high motor, really physical. All of those things added with longevity, to me, makes him the 5th greatest small forward ever. Because when you're that good for that long and you're able to scale your role up and down, where you're able to play behind some people, like he's coming off the bench, but he's playing 30 plus minutes a game. So it's like, I guess, but like you're still one of the most important players on the team. Like you're off the bench, but at the end of the day, it's black and white footage. I don't even know when you sub in, to be honest. Like we all look the same. So like I know which one's Bill Russell and everyone else just flying around, and I'm like, oh, this guy moves more than the rest. But really, like I said, really good passer, someone who could score with volume, not much efficiency, but could score with volume, could scale up his game in that regard, but then can also play a backseat in different situations. And that's something I really value, with that malleability of your game. And John Havlicek's motor and all of those things led to me having him at 5. If I remember correctly, Gifted, you had him at 6. So is there anything you want to add to John Havlicek?
Yeah, he moved me, man. The way that he would move up and down the floor is one thing, but I think he had one postseason where he played like 47 minutes a night and was just dominating on both ends. It's the all-around play and for just how long he was good that really catapults him into this spot. I think he was a very good player, and he's definitely one of the few where like I wish I could take him and drop him into the game today and see exactly how good he'd be, because that motor is a thing that really popped out when I watched him for sure. 45 minutes a game in 1974 route to a title. Route to a title where he wins finals MVP. That's crazy, bro.
Like, that's
insane.
And this is a higher pace than we're seeing today. So, and he was moving more than anyone back then as well. So, just adding all of that in, and this is a Celtics team that plays quite fast. So they play fast. He's playing more than anyone, and he moves more than anyone. That level of endurance is something that I respect a lot. So shout out to John Havlicek. He did ultimately come in 8th place, so slightly below where I had him. On to number 7. There is quite a jump here, because between Rick Barry and John Havlicek, it was 35 points and 39 respectively. This guy has 54 points. So quite comfortably ahead of John Havlicek. I had him at 10. John D, you did not have him. Lowe had him at 5. ZZ had him at 6. Tyler had him at 9. Chill had him at 7. Real Talk had him at 4. Ox did not have him. Ron had him at 8. KB had him at 7. Pirate did not have him. Gifted, you had him at 10. Penn had him at 6. Riv, you had him at 8. Carson had him at 9. Dream had him at 5. Swiper had him at 6. And Jordan did not have him. Once again, a guy with no championships. Riv. But you had him at 8. So I'm gonna go to you again. Talk to me about Elgin Baylor.
Elgin Baylor. Wait, is Jordan the guy who had Dominique at 5?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
And then he didn't have Elgin on his list. That's
He
kind of
did
weird.
not have Elgin Baylor. He did not.
Yeah, that's weird.
For what
'Cause
it's
I
worth,
think
he
Elgin,
didn't. He had, spoiler alert, he didn't have any of the guys who played before the 80s. So
got it.
I'm
I
assuming
see.
that's
I
the
see
reason.
what I see.
I
I see
could-
that's what's
okay.
going on there. Elgin Baylor.
Word up.
You know, watching his tape, really good post up player, sneaky, good ass passer, especially in transition. Throwing cross court passes were nutty of him, and they were like real strong, fast ones. I'm talking about jumping off of 2 feet. The shit we see Hallie do, where he jumps in the air really high and throw those passes. Elgin Baylor was doing that in the 60s and in the 70s. Really good finisher with both hands. Was able to make passes out of finishes too. So he's at the rim and he can instantly just make a pass behind the back. Really gifted, I'd say. Really strong rebounder. Good ball handler for his size. Was able to move well in transition. Like you mentioned, everybody played fast, and to have these type of players, 6'8", 6'9", bigger than most, athletic. That's the advantage you can have, and Elgin Baylor used that to his advantages. I think he was a great player. I think he may not have insane longevity and he may not have the title, but I do think he was an extremely great, extremely efficient player for what they wanted to do, and that was get out in transition. He had all the tools and all the skills that benefited him in that era.
Yeah, I'm gonna, because I had him at 10, and I think the numbers, I mean, he averaged 27, 13, and 5 or something for his career. So the numbers suggest he should be. Found out his middle name is Gay, by the way. Found out.
Why'd you say that?
Wait, so it's Elgin Gay Baylor?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So shout out to Elgin.
I can rock with that.
Shout out to Gay.
Yeah, love is love.
Yo,
but anyway, the thing that is gonna sound weird because he was still really good, but I think we
no way he cut off the cam. Rip's killing me.
shout out to Elgin, man. Damn, shout
out to Elgin, bro. You know,
and shout out to his community. But
bro, why would
point
y'all
being,
say that?
Point being,
that has nothing to do with
that's his
basketball.
middle name.
We haven't brought up anybody else's middle name the entire show.
okay, we brought up Rick Barry being a racist. Like,
That's
I'm
matter.
gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. If we're gonna bring up Rick Barry being a racist, I'm not mad at Mars with the middle name. You know,
Right. Because that's the same
So,
line. That's the same line for sure. Yeah.
No,
in the 60s, one was more accepted than the other. But anyway,
that's a great point. That's a great point.
Anyway,
Hey.
Elgin Gay
back
Baylor,
to basketball. Yeah, back to basketball. Someone who, especially young Elgin, the film is limited now. It was limited 5 years ago when I first watched. The pandemic times was a great time to watch 60s basketball. If you haven't watched it then, you're not going to find much now. It's unfortunate. But going back and watching, early 60s, Elgin Baylor was, Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell notwithstanding, the best athlete in the league. He was faster than just about everyone, could fly over you, was finishing, doing advanced layup gathers. When I say advanced, it means he took a step before he took a layup. That was crazy for the time. It was unfathomable. Someone who was he was a point forward before a point forward. One thing that you notice when you watch 60s games, everyone did everything. Like they were like positionless basketball before positionless basketball. Like they had the big in the post and stuff. But like the good bigs, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell, they could get a rebound and go. Like they were allowed to do that. Guards were gonna post you up. Maybe that's because they couldn't dribble, but call it what you want. Guards were doing post-ups. They were moving off the ball. They weren't dominating the ball. Oscar Robertson notwithstanding. But point being, he could do a lot of things. He was extremely versatile. He could pass, back to Riv's point. But the issue that I had with Elgin Baylor, and it's not his fault, the moment that he got injured in 1965, I believe it was a patella injury, there was a noticeable decline in his offensive game. It was noticeable. Yeah. The efficiency dropped. He wasn't the same level of athlete. And unfortunately, when you have a major patella injury in the 60s, that's probably going to affect you as opposed to how it would affect you today. Like it's just, over. That's unfortunate. So I think what I noticed is watching Elgin Baylor 62, 63, you're seeing an amazing athlete who could get to the rim consistently, was an efficient scorer, did all that playmaking stuff, was an okay defender, wasn't the greatest defender, but wasn't hurting his team. So he was cool. And then you watch him post patella injury, post knee issues, and it's like he's not as efficient of a scorer. He's not as explosive of a driver. The efficiency is starting to decline. He's relying more on tough shots, jump shots, floaters, all of that stuff. And that just knocked him down a peg or two for me. And then the defense started to decline. And I'm like, we're at a point where we're getting a high volume, negative efficiency scorer who's probably not a positive on defense, do I value that over the guy I will value in like a Paul Pierce who gave me a decade plus of being really good, really versatile? Do I value that over a Rick Barry? Do I value that over a John Havlicek, etc., etc.? And ultimately, the 5 years of amazing peak performance just wasn't enough for me. So that's why I ended up having Elgin Baylor at 10. But the peak was very, very good. Is there anything you guys want to add to Elgin Baylor?
This is another guy where it was the John Havlicek situation. It's just as I was making the list, I wasn't as educated on Elgin Baylor.
Shaking my damn head, man.
Yeah, man, I need to get a new co-host, man. My co-host not doing his job.
My
Yeah,
one mistake would probably be I should have put Paul Pierce over Elgin Baylor. That's probably my one mistake. I should have had Paul Pierce ranked over Elgin Baylor.
There's many mistakes on your list, but yeah, that's one, I guess. Yeah,
Yo, what's
that's
up?
one.
What's up with you, bro?
Hey, wait, we're on to the next name.
Now
We
give me a
are
little
on to number 7. Is this number 7? 10, 9, 8. No, we're on to number 6.
Your name might be gay, but it was straight hoops.
Yeah, shout out to 10 man. Dub show. Oh, and by the way, gay originally meant happy. Yes, it did. And then shout out to the gay individuals.
Man, come on, man.
Hey.
Oh, just say happy.
Yeah.
He's happy.
Nah, he's gay. It's cool.
We are on to number 6.
Just say what it is.
There was another substantial jump. Elgin Baylor had 54 points. This guy had 84.
So I think I know who it is.
We are
right?
We are at number 6. We are breaking into. These are the guys who were on pretty much every list. I'm not going to reveal where we had them, so I don't want you guys to know who this guy is. But Lowe had this guy at 6. ZZ had this guy at 4. Tyler had him at 5. Chill had him at 8. Real Talk had him at 6. Ox had him at 7. Ron had him at 6. KB had him at 4. Pirate had him at 8. Penn had him at 7. Carson had him at 5. Dream had him at 6. Swiper had him at 5. And Jordan had him at 9.
Oh, I know who this is for sure now.
He must be an old guy.
Yeah,
Jordan.
Chill and Jordan, I think, gave it away.
Nah, Gifted, go ahead and tell me. Who do you think it is?
Chill and Jordan taxi like that, it's got to be Kawhi Leonard, bro.
Okay. Yes, it is Kawhi Leonard.
I thought so. Yeah.
It is Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi
Good guess. John D had him at, so now I'll reveal where we had him. John D had him at 6. Gifted, you had him at 7. Riv, you had him at 7. And I had him at 8. So I think it's going to be quite explanatory why we had him lower. There's not much to say about that. So without just saying the longevity, talk to me about how good Kawhi Leonard is. I'm going to start with you, John D.
Kawhi Leonard over the course of his career has become one of the better scorers. For sure. Kawhi Leonard over the course of his career has gotten substantially better as a scorer, whether it was in isolation, in the post, as a mid-range scorer, as an off-ball player. I think Kawhi Leonard has gotten so much better as a scorer while also being one of the better, or if not the best defensive player in the league for multiple seasons. I definitely think he was an all-defensive caliber player. He became one of the best mid-range shooters in the league, being extremely strong, just not being able to be knocked off your spots, not giving the defense a chance to keep you away from your spots, whether it's in the mid-range, getting to the rim, being able to attack smaller guards in the post. I think he was really good at that as well. He was really good on the ball. He was really good guarding taller and stronger players just because of the strength that he provided as well. And in the playoffs, he had really good scoring runs as well, to where there were moments where it's just nothing you could do with Kawhi Leonard in the playoffs. So I couldn't have him any lower. I don't think I could have put him any lower than 6, in my opinion, because I do think when Kawhi was like fully healthy and playing in the playoffs, he was better than the guys I had under him. He might even be better than the guys I have above him, but
he's definitely better than 1. But Gifted, Riff.
Yeah. He's very good. Oh yeah. All good. We appreciate you. He's really good at basketball, and like I know that's a very simple thing to say, but he's like really good at basketball. I think he has an argument to be the best project hooper ever. The way that he was able to like really develop his skills from not really having the
I thought you meant from the projects. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
me too.
Oh,
That's what I'm like,
no.
what?
Yeah. Oh, I was like, okay.
All right.
From the
You know
projects
where
is
you're from.
not the list, but nah, like just the amount of skills he was able to add to his game, like his handle from his first year to now is just a crazy journey. His ability to just take the same shot over and over and it looks the exact same is just an elite skill. And then on top of it, he's one of the best defensive players ever. I mean, he was extremely, extremely good where he was right up there with, I would say, some of the best overall guys in the league, period. So he has such a weird arc, obviously, because of the games and whatnot, but his peaks are very, very good, man. I found it hard to put him higher up because of the games tax, but outside of that, I mean, he has moments where he can rise to their overall levels, and I think that's why he's a top 10 player for me.
Kawhi is interesting. Kawhi is extremely interesting because he doesn't have per se the longevity. He doesn't have a ton of peak seasons, but his ability is obvious and it's very consensus in what he can do as a player when he's healthy. He's also in that weird spot where people tend to combine his best defensive seasons with his best offensive seasons and think it was the same player. No, because pre-Toronto, elite, stout defensive player. Post-Toronto, still good, can be elite in spot moments, but much better offensively. And I think that's what more you needed from him at that point. I also think, the recurring knee injuries, and he just has bad knees. There's really nothing he can do about it. So I think that always puts him down. But I think Kawhi's limitations as a passer doesn't get talked about enough, and that is probably why we don't have him higher on this list. I feel like as a wing, your kind of job is to kind of be a little bit of a jack of all trades for the most part. And Kawhi is just go get a bucket at all three levels. He's extremely efficient at it. He can get to the free throw line. He works wonders in the post game. His strength, his physical attributes, his hand size is a bit like him having big hands is like literally like it's a gift and it's a skill. His footwork was exceptional on the block, and then his ball handling, like you mentioned, his ball handling was quick and it was sturdy. It helped him get separation for where he can get to that mid range. The 3-point shot worked wonders for him too because it became efficient. So Kawhi was just an extremely efficient player with obvious limitations, but as a scorer, that's kind of what you want. And like Kawhi was the perfect bucket getter in my eyes. 6 is cool, 7 is cool, 8 is cool. I feel like any higher than that, I don't think he can get there into that unless that longevity was there for me.
So I want to ask y'all real quick, what's peak for him? I know what my peak is. I just don't know what you guys think it.
I would say his last year San Antonio until like I want to say like second or third year of the Clippers. That would be like his peak for me.
It's tricky to me because like I think he was hurt the 2018 year. I think it was like the 17-18 year where he was out. Then he's 19, he's really good, and then 21, he's really good. So it's like I would probably say 19 to 21, but then I would be like, you can throw 17 in there because I feel like 17 is when
that playoff run was crazy from him.
Exactly.
That playoff run, he was going nuts.
Yeah, like I think 17, you could really add that to it and just be like, you know what? Let's not even think about 18. He was hurt. You know what I'm saying? Let's just add 17 to his peak and just go like that.
If I had to pick like 1 year, I think the peak is 21 overall. I think he was the best defensively in either 16 or maybe 17. But I think offensively, it has to be that year for me.
Yeah, 21 I think is the best he was offensively. 17 I think is the best he was combined offense and defense. Scoring and defense. And then 19 is obviously the postseason run that most people deem as his peak. I'm not as high on 19 in general. I think it's the third best year of those three. But I think it says a lot about Kawhi that he has 3 different years that are all like at ridiculous levels. And if I were to do multi-years, it would be just 19 to 21. But like I could just do 17 to 21 and acknowledge that 18 doesn't exist. So it's really just 4 years, those 4 years, 17, 19, 20, 21. That's probably what I will do. Those 4 years, Kawhi is one of the best wings I've ever seen. For all the reasons John D said. I agree with the passing limitations. I do think in 21, that's why I'm higher on him, because I think the passing improved a lot. But there's not much he couldn't do. He could play on the ball, the handle improved, a monster in the mid-range, could get to the rim, stronger than damn near everyone at his position, could guard at a really high level, especially 17, 19, he could still defend in isolation. Like, there's not much Kawhi couldn't do. Like, the reason I had him at 8 was, like, quite simply, it was just the longevity stuff. But the reason I had him over a Pierce and Baylor is just like, I'm gonna take 4 years of Kawhi over like 7-8 years of Paul Pierce. Like, I just think I have a better chance with Kawhi. But there's just some guys where it's like Rick Barry. I'm very comfortable having Rick Barry on my team, unless there's a bunch of guys who might look like me or gifted. Then it's like, yeah, maybe not. But based on the era he played in, he doesn't run that risk too much. So, and then John Havlicek, the longevity is a similar thing. So it's like, it's hard to toe the line between which is more valuable, how much is it worth. Like, I don't think there's an exact science to it. I could have had Kawhi as high as 5. I could have had him as low as 9 or 10, just depending on how much I value longevity on the day. Yeah. Because even like his best postseasons, 17 and 21, 19 notwithstanding, get ended by postseason injuries. Like, even when he's playing at an all-time level, you don't get him for the full postseason. So it's hard to know what you do with that versus just how good he truly is. There's another guy on the center list I'm going to have a trouble ranking for very similar reasons, and his is even more extreme. So
your big boy, your partner in crime. I'll be seeing you put the cape on for him. It's pretty embarrassing if you ask me.
Cape on for who?
Well, you're not gonna be on the center list, so yeah, I'm never gonna have to hear your opinion. I'm not gonna hear your opinion, so that is what it is.
He be putting that cape on for that center over there in Philly, man. He be throwing that cape on.
I say the truth. I say the truth.
He's saving him, man. He be saving him.
I say the truth. He's offended by the truth. I guess it is what it is. Who cares? Anyway, back to the small forwards. We are getting into the top 5. Just to recap where we were so far. In 17th place, all with 1 10th place vote each, Bernard King, Jayson Tatum, and Scottie Barnes. In 14th, with 1 7th place vote, Adrian Dantley with 4 points. In 13th, Carmelo Anthony with 11 points. In 12th, James Worthy with 18 points. In 11th, Dominique Wilkins with 22 points. In 10th, Paul Pierce with 23 points. In 9th, Rick Barry with 35 points. In 8th, John Havlicek with 39 points. In 7th, Elgin Baylor with 54 points. And in 6th, Kawhi Leonard with 84 points. Now, I think everyone's going to know who the number 5 is. He had 91 points, so him and Kawhi were kind of close. I had this guy at 6. John D, you had him at 5. Lowe had him at 8. ZZ had him at 7. Tyler had him at 6. Chill had him at 5. Real Talk had him at 7. Ox had him at 3. Ron had him at 5. KB had him at 6. Pirate had him at 6. Gifted, you had him at 4. Penn had him at 5. Riv had him at 6. Carson had him at 6. Dream had him at 8. Swipe had him at 7. And Jordan had him at 7. We are talking about Mr. Damn Near Triple-Double, 6 rings, Scottie Pippen. I tried to get Ox on the show for today, but he was busy. So I wanted to hear him talk about why Scottie Pippen is 3rd, but couldn't make it. So anyway,
3rd.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen. Okay. I'm gonna start with you, Gifted. Gifted, talk to us about Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, very good player, man. Very good player. I think he still, to this day, is one of the most responsible 2s in the league's history. Defensively, the things that he could do, but also offensively, the way he was able to contribute with his passing and just his all-around game. I think he's very, very, very scalable, and he had a pretty good longevity as well. He was getting cooked on his contract, absolutely, but he was a very good player. I think there's a lot of skills in his game that would 100% translate to many different overall eras. And I think Scottie Pippen is a huge part of why the Bulls were able to be as dominant as they were, even without Jordan for that, I would say, magical year, right? So I think he's a very good player. There was a typo. He's not better than the other player that I had him over to me, but I think he's very good, and I can understand an argument for 4. But I can't go higher than 4.
John?
Yeah, I think Scottie Pippen, with the ability to handle the ball, at times be their primary creator and passer. The ability to push the pace in transition was really valuable. And then defensively, just being able to be as physical on the ball, being able to poke the ball free, being able to protect the rim, being able to deny the post. And he didn't necessarily have to get too deep when denying the post because he had a really freaking wingspan. He had a really good anticipation for poking those pocket passes or poking those passes to the big. So I think as a defender, he's one of the greater perimeter defenders the league has ever seen. And I think offensively, he does get underrated. I do think as a scorer, he's not as good, but as a general offensive player that can play next to a guy like Michael Jordan, I think he was really good. And yeah, and a rebounder as well. I think he was a good rebounder at his position as well.
Dominated triple-double for 3 finals. Yep. Riff?
Yeah, I remember that conversation. That shit was hilarious. Yeah, man, he's kind of just upgraded James Worthy to me. And I feel like the difference between him and James Worthy is he had the opportunity to show for a season that he can, be the number one guy, and it worked for them. They made the second round, lost a tough one to the Knicks, if I'm not mistaken. Scottie Pippen was doing a lot of wild stuff at the end of games, but we're not going to talk about that. But I would say Scottie Pippen as a player, though, really good. Not the number one go-to scorer you want, but still a really good scorer, works really well in transition, good passer, can be the offensive initiator of your offense. Great defender, great help side defender, great rebounder, just a connector. And I think that's really important for these number twos. The difference between why number 3 feels a little bit too strong for Scottie is because he doesn't have the peak of these other guys in front of him, and he's just not as good to be a number one guy like the guys in front of him. But he's one of the best number 2s in NBA history, and you don't have a conversation about number 2s and Robins without Scottie Pippen. He is the poster boy for that. He's the catalyst for that, and I think being a Robin is just as important.
It's not. That's why he's a Robin, but sure. But yeah, Scottie Pippen, amazing. Just want to check where I had him before I lie. Yeah, had him right behind John Havlicek. Really good. I think he's probably him and Kawhi, but I don't know who I think is the better defender. I want to say I think it's Scottie Pippen because of like the off-ball stuff. I think Kawhi is a better on-ball defender, but I think Scottie Pippen is probably the best overall defender, rim protection, forcing turnovers, taking charges, all of that stuff. And then he was someone who could guard on the ball at a really high level, especially if you weren't just one of them quick, shifty guards. If you weren't Penny Hardaway, Tim Hardaway, Mark Price, Grant Hill. Oh, my God.
That's what I need to talk about. I forgot all about that.
Ryan Scottie. Oh, my God.
If you didn't have an overwhelming athletic advantage against Scottie Pippen, he was probably going to lock you up. But if you did, you could get by him. Wasn't the quickest on the outside in terms of that, but really smart defender, really good forcing turnovers, really good help side rim protection, really smart, and being able to rotate on time in an era where rotating early was literally not allowed. That's a really, really valuable trait that Scottie Pippen had. So really high on his defense. Offensively, not as high. Just wasn't someone who I think I understand the James Worthy comp, but I think James Worthy was a better half-court scorer than Scottie Pippen was.
For sure.
There was a lot to be desired with Scottie Pippen's half-court scoring game. He could face you up in the mid-post. He could get to like a hook shot and stuff on occasion, but wasn't the most efficient scorer, wasn't the most consistent outside shooter. Was someone who could make mid-range shots, could get to the rim off a closeout. He was a freakish athlete who could get to the rim in one dribble. All of that stuff was valuable, but a lot of it was off creation. So like typical number 2. Like he's like maybe a Dominique Wilkins, James Worthy hybrid. Like if you just combine them, that's probably his molds, which is really good. And then he was good. Like in Portland in that 2000 season, he was still good. Like post Chicago, he was still good. Now not for like very, very long, but he was still good. And then that 94 season that you alluded to, one of the better players in the NBA. So overall, we're looking at 10, 11-ish years where you were still really good. And then you're one of the best defenders of all time, especially at your position, who could pass. That's enough for me to have you above a guy like Rick Barry because of the longevity stuff. But then John Havlicek, for me, it's like, I think John Havlicek was the better offensive player. I think defensively, Scottie Pippen is better. And I think it's noticeable. But John Havlicek, in his own right, was one of the better wing defenders in the league. So I did favor John Havlicek slightly, but I could have had Scottie Pippen at 5. couldn't have had him higher than 5. I couldn't get him to 4. My 4 was locked in, but I could see him at 5 for sure. Now shout out to Ox for having him at 3. I kind of knew that was going to happen, but I was surprised when I saw it, but I knew it was going to happen. I didn't know if he was going to do it, but he did it. So shout out to Ox. Anyway, number 4. This is when we break 100 points. So these are the guys who were on every list. Scottie Pippen was on every list. Kawhi was on every list, but these guys are high on every list. 123 points. Instead of reading where everyone had him, because like 14 of us had him at 4th. So I'm just going to read the people who didn't have him at 4th. Ron had him at 3rd. ZZ had him at 5th. Real Talk had him at 5th. KB had him at 5th. And Gifted You had him at 5th. Everyone else had him at 4th. We are, of course, talking about Dr. J. One of the icons of the game. Gifted, since you had him the lowest, right behind Scottie Pippen, talk to us.
Yeah, that was the typo that I had. I think he's better than Scottie is. I can understand an argument someone might try to put forth for Scottie, but I still think Dr. J he was so very good. His peaks were very high. He was extremely athletic, and there's a ton of just different things he did to contribute to teams to try to win. And he had many MVP caliber years. I don't think Scottie Pippen had a majority of those same types of years in terms of quality consistently. So I think Dr. J is definitely deserving of a top 4 mention on his list.
So what you're saying is if Dr. J is missing out on 3rd by 1 point, it's because of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Disgusting. Riv, anything you want to say about Dr. J? Oh, Teddy Hart, right on time. Hope I'm not too late for the Dr. J discussion. Please look at his combined stats and accolades. You made it just on time for Dr. J, but Riv, what do you want to say about Dr. J?
Yeah, I don't have anything really bad to say about Julius Erving. I mean, like you mentioned, one of the most gifted basketball players in NBA history. And I feel like a lot of guys, they have this type of aura to them where like we talking about like Dr. J had his big fro time and then he had the short fro time. And big fro Dr. J was truly a masterful basketball player. Little fro Dr. J was still great. I think that was more the NBA swag, but Dr. J just a skyscraper, a guy who long arms, perfect size for a small forward in any era, to be honest, can get to the rim, good passer, good defender. I see my boy got a Julius Erving signature. You really old for that. Clean. I'll say that. I don't even know how you got that. But really,
it's my granddad.
Oh, it's your granddad?
Yeah, I brought it for the episode, but I forgot it. I had to go run and get it before y'all stopped talking about it.
Are you breathing so hard? You just ran?
He's not in the best of shape.
Yeah, nothing.
It'd be like that.
I feel like the few guys we have in front of us, you don't really got to say too much about them because you kind of know who they are. Like Julius Erving, I feel like he's one of those dudes.
Yeah, I had him at 4th. I did. If I factored in the ABA, I could have had him at 2 for real. I could have. But
on the same
once again,
like,
I've seen. I want to say I think I've seen 2 Dr. J ABA games, and one of them was an All-Star game. I say that all the time. Like there's just not much I've seen. So I always say I don't evaluate what I haven't seen, and I haven't seen it in the ABA. I know the numbers. I know the MVP awards. I understand. If I had access to it, he'd be higher. Unfortunately, I don't. And I'm consistent in that regard. But in the NBA, still really good, an amazing athlete, really good post-up scorer. Once again, similar to Dominique in the sense that I think the way people think he scored isn't necessarily the way he actually scored. He was a heavy post-up wing. It was a lot of face-ups at the mid-post, the elbow, all of that stuff. Really crafty, being able, and then when he is able to get to the rim, ridiculous touch, ridiculous length, able to finish around over people. Just really, really, really talented downhill. Not much of an outside shooter, wasn't the greatest shooter in any regard. Could pass, could protect the rim, could play in the passing lanes, all of that great stuff. Like there wasn't really many holes in his game besides the functionality of his handle and then the overall outside shooting. Everything else he did at a really high level while being one of the better athletes, while having extreme longevity. He was still really good into the mid-80s. So when I add all of that up, like, I just think he's clearly a better player than a Scottie Pippen. I think he's clearly a better player than the John Havlicek. So I couldn't look at it and be like, yeah, John Havlicek's longevity is going to get him over Julius Erving. It didn't make sense to me. So when I
Yeah.
think you are that much better, and I think Dr. J is closer to the top 3 than he is to the rest of the pack in terms of how good he was in his prime, that was enough for me to say, yeah, I think he is number 4. But ultimately, just because of the ABA stuff, that's like 6 years, I want to say 5-6 years where he's in the ABA. If they were all in the NBA, I could see him being at number 2, number 3, but ultimately just wasn't enough for me. But tremendously accomplished, amazing scorer, good rebounder, could protect the rim as a wing, all of that good stuff. John D, is there anything you want to say?
I think Dr. J was a really good defender. I think his rim pressure was really valuable. The craftiness around the rim, like a lot of people glaze that layup that he had behind the backboard and things, but he's done something to that nature multiple times, I think. So I think Dr. J was really good. He was a really good passer. He got really high off the ground to rim protect as well. The only thing was he did turn the ball over a little bit more than I would have liked, especially like in transition or just being a little inaccurate when he passed or just like being a little late on reads, which would have led to a lot of turnovers. That's some of the things I saw within his game. But as a scorer, I think he was one of the better scorers of his era. Yeah, I definitely would have had Dr. J where he was at.
Yeah. Not as high on him as a passer as you, but still could pass. Definitely a willing passer. I'll call him that. Definitely a willing passer. Not the greatest passer, but definitely willing. And I think being willing is half the equation. So shout out to Dr. J. Anyway, on to number 3. Dr. J had 123 points. Number 3 has 145. And number 2 has 158.
Good.
Number 3 is going to be quite obvious. Most people had him at 3. There's a couple people who didn't. I'm going to just read off those people. Ox had him at 5. Ron had him at 4. Dream had him at 2. Real Talk had him at 2. Myself and John D had him at 2.
Okay.
Everyone else had him at 3. We are, of course, talking about Kevin Durant. I saved the super chat from Teddy Hart that came in an hour ago. He said, KD's longevity, in my opinion, should put him above Larry, who packed a lot into a 10-year run. However, didn't face nearly the amount and caliber of wings KD had to contend with. Bron, Kawhi, PG, Melo, Giannis, etc. Hope you're still here, Teddy Hart. I didn't forget your super chat. I was saving it for when it fit the show. John D, you had Kevin Durant at 2. Talk to me about Kevin Durant.
Wait,
Kevin Durant.
Before John, wait, John.
Oh, here comes Mr.
John,
KD's not a legend yet.
No. I'm actually about to defend KD. Who the hell had him at 5, man?
Shout out to my guy Ox, man. Shout out to my guy Ox.
I knew it was Ox.
Yeah.
Shout out to my guy Ox. Ron had him at 4. Nuts. Ox had him at 5. Yep.
That's brutal. I was going to defend KD right there. I feel like 5 is too low.
Personally. Oh, one more super chat from Teddy Hart before John D goes. He said KD was the only guy who could damn near look a 12-14, which is peak LeBron, who is a GOAT candidate, by the way, eye to eye, which in my opinion is a crazy feat in itself. KD himself didn't even reach his own peak until 3 years later in 2017. Okay, now
Teddy, what does that even mean? What does that even mean? Like you look
at a pre-peak. He's saying a pre-peak KD was looking LeBron eye to eye. That's what he's saying.
He lost in 5 games.
Well, yeah, his team lost to them. It doesn't mean
the Thunder shot like shit in that series.
Yeah,
they shot like shit.
A team that shoots 23% from 3 versus a team that shoots 41%. Yeah, you're probably gonna lose that series. But I mean, yeah. Anyway, before you get into your hating bag, John Z,
I was about to.
You have Kevin Durant. You have Kevin Durant.
He's about to lock in for real.
Yeah, Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant is a top 3 scorer of all time. When you have the match of shooting, off-ball ability, downhill ability before the injury, and being able to finish at the rim, play in transition, catch lobs, and the longevity of what KD provided, I think is top tier. The way he was able to recover off that injury where he missed, I think, a season and a half or a year and a half, and still be one of the best scorers in the league by still being one of the best jump shooters in the league, being one of the best off-ball shooters in the league, one of the best difficult shot makers in the league, the ability to have a jump shot that is really hard to be contested because of the wingspan and the height. I think Kevin Durant, and as his career got along, I think he got smarter on the defensive side, being a rim protector, being somebody that can play passing lanes. He was never like in my opinion, I don't think he was ever an elite defender, but I do think he got better as a defender and as a passer. Yeah, I think being one of the greatest scorers of all time for that long of amount of a time, in my opinion, is good enough for him to be number 2. Like I think number 1's clear, but being that high. It's just like I think Kevin Durant's number 2.
Yeah, I also had him at number 2. I just think the longevity is too much to overlook at this point. We're talking about, and the reason that I came to this conclusion is because Larry Bird entered the league in 1980. We're going to compare them because they're 2 and 3. Larry Bird entered the league in 1980. He retired after the Dream Team. That was his last time he played, but his last NBA season was 1992. He was already a shell of himself in 92 and 91. So we've got about 10 years of Larry Bird being one of the best players in the league. In Larry Bird's career, he played just under 900 games and 164 playoff games. In my opinion, and you guys don't have to agree with this is my opinion, Kevin Durant has a similar amount of games where he was a top 3 player on the planet. If not top 3, a top 5 player on the planet. I think he entered the top 5 realm in 2010, year 3. I think he was a top 5 player on the planet. He came second in MVP if you care about that stuff. I'm just looking at him as a scorer, as an offensive weapon, off the ball, all of that stuff. I don't think he was top 3 yet because the physicality, the strength was still something that could get to him. I look at his first ever playoff series against the Lakers as an example of that. He struggled a lot to deal with that physicality, but he was a top 5 player in my opinion in 2010. I think the last time Kevin Durant was a top 5 player, top 5 level player was 2023, which was 2 seasons ago. It was a year he averaged like 29, 55, 40, 90, whatever his accuracy. I remember he was the first player ever to 55, 40, 90 or something. That is 13, 14 seasons being a top 5 level player. Now, he did miss the 2020 season and he got hurt in 2015. So that does take away from that somewhat. But he played, that's 832 regular season games in that time and 166 playoff games. That's about Larry Bird's whole career. And that stretch is Kevin Durant being a top 5 player on the planet. When I factor in the peaks that he achieved from 2014 to 2017, 18, 19, I think Larry Bird may have peaked higher. I'm fine with that. But Kevin Durant is one of, in my opinion, the 2 greatest scorers to ever play. MJ's number 1. Kevin Durant to me is number 2. The versatility, the shooting ability, the fact he can play off ball and on ball, the fact that people seem to forget because we're 10 years removed by now. He used to get to the rim with regularity. He used to live at the free throw line while shooting damn near 90% from the free throw line. He was someone who could defend, especially once you get to 2016, 17, 18, 19, all the way to today. Today, he's still a really good defender. A better defender than Larry Bird, in my opinion. Can rim protect, can switch, mobile. The awareness is improved. He's in my opinion, again, one of the 5 best shooters to ever play the game. Like, all of this starts adding up after a while. And I understand he doesn't have the 3 MVPs and he doesn't have the 3 championships. He only has 2, blah, blah, blah. But for me, it gets to a point where I can't overlook 14, 15 years being a top 5, top 10 level player. I can't overlook that anymore. With like, I don't know. And he's probably going to do it again next year. And then he might do it again the year after that. I'm going to ask you guys who had him at number 3. Is there anything he can do to get to number 2, or is he just set in stone at 3?
Nah, I'll probably be, because everything you said was sound. You know, I was trying to find something to hate on. Couldn't find anything. Everything you said was pretty good. I think I'm more on your mindset where it probably didn't happen for me right now, but it's going to eventually happen where eventually Kevin Durant is just going to surpass Larry Bird because the longevity is going to be too much. And it really is unfortunate because Larry Bird came into the league dominant, a dog for 10 plus years. Like you mentioned, he accomplished so much in such a small window of time, like 10 years now. We look at that. That's a short NBA career for a star player. Like we have these guys playing 13, 14, 15, 16 play. We see Kevin Durant, Steph, Kawhi, James Harden still playing at a high level at these ages. And Larry Bird was scripted that because of a lot of these back injuries. I do think Kevin Durant probably has an opportunity to be number 2 as close as probably next year, depending on what he does with Houston. He has another opportunity to add something to that career, already legendary career, like you mentioned, Mars. But I think this is a product of – this kind of reminds me of MJ versus LeBron in a sense where it's peak versus longevity. Do you value the long-standing longevity of one player while also having a great peak? Or do you think just that short amount of time and how great he was in that peak is just better? I think for me, it was just – I think Larry Bird is a better player than Kevin Durant, just pound for pound, a better player. And I think that small peak, I think he's accomplished a shit ton in which Kevin Durant is not there yet. But the longevity, eventually, I'll put Kevin Durant at number 2 pretty comfortably, and as little as probably a year or two, depending on what he does this year, honestly.
Gifted.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on the last legs of the Larry Bird is better than KD all time thing. I think a lot of your points in terms of KD's longevity are relevant and do matter. I just think that the peak of Bird and what he was able to accomplish at his peak is why I still have him over KD. But at a certain point, when you play as long as KD has and you're still like a top 5 or top 10 caliber player for that long, that does start to matter more and more and more in this conversation. So I think you're definitely valid in your ideology as to why you might have to replace where Bird is. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say at all.
I'm with you guys that peak Bird probably is better because of the passing stuff.
Yeah.
And like relative to era, I subscribe to relative to era too. But I think peak Kevin Durant does just get underrated in general. I vividly remember the 2019 playoffs. Mr. You know who I am. I'm Kevin Durant, and then proceeds to average damn near 40 for 2 playoff series, being by far the best player in the playoffs up to that point. I remember the 2017 postseason run. I don't remember. Now I have to go back and watch. I remember the 2012 postseason run. I remember what he did in the 2011 postseason run. I remember what he did in his 2014 MVP season. I remember what he did in 2021. Like, I remember these things. And I go back and I watch Larry Bird, especially young Larry. He came into the league at like 23, so I get young. But rookie first couple years, Larry Bird struggled a lot, especially offensively in the postseason. He wasn't the greatest scorer. He wasn't the most reliable scorer. He wasn't someone who could get to the rim and finish with ease. He wasn't someone who his jump shot was all the way refined yet. And you see these postseason series, these postseason runs, especially before they acquire a point guard. And this is to Lowe's point. I don't agree with Lowe on a whole lot, but I do agree with him on this. Larry Bird and Kevin Durant gets a knock for the same thing. Generally, it's like, oh, KD needs a playmaker. Larry Bird needed the same thing. Larry Bird needed a Dennis Johnson to maximize his offensive game. And I don't hold that against him. I just acknowledge that he wasn't someone who could put the ball in his hands routinely and expect him to create for himself and others because his handle just wasn't that functional, especially being 6'9", 6'10", and not a great athlete. I didn't expect it to be. But when it's Kevin Durant who needs those things, it's a problem. Kevin Durant needs a playmaker. Kevin Durant can't do this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, yeah, a 7-foot guy not meant to have the most functional handle to initiate offense. This is why Wemby should not be initiating offense in San Antonio. They're not meant to be able to do that. It's meant to be a bonus that they can handle the ball secondarily. They aren't meant to be your primaries. That's not meant to happen. But then I look at Kevin Durant, amazing off the ball, amazing shooter, someone who became a really positive defender and has been we're approaching maybe 9 years where Kevin Durant's been a good defender. Yep. That's damn near Bird's whole prime. We're getting to a point where like Kevin Durant has been doing things for so long, and maybe we become numb to it because his game has changed so much over the years. Where he came in, he was pretty much only a scorer, and his scoring will go up and down depending on opponents, blah, blah, blah. And then you get the Kevin Durant that really maximizes himself 2012, 13, 14. Amazing athlete, is getting to the rim with regularity, getting to the free throw line. And then he breaks his foot. And then you get the Kevin Durant that becomes maybe the best mid-range scorer ever, and is still a good athlete. And then he tears his Achilles. And then you get the Kevin Durant that, in my opinion, is undoubtedly the best mid-range shooter ever. And it's like, we're seeing these iterations, and maybe because we've seen so much adaptability, people are not acknowledging how good he has been for so long because it looks different at each stage. But for me, I understand he hasn't won without Golden State, and I'm not the accolade guy. So like, I don't care. Like, quite frankly, I don't care. Like, if Kevin Durant's playing well and they lose, I don't care. If he plays trash and they lose 2022 against Boston, I care.
Oh man!
But if he's playing well, I don't care. If his foot's on the line in 2021, or if James Harden doesn't get hurt or Kyrie doesn't get hurt, now it's valid for me to have him above Larry Bird because things that were outside of his control happens. No, I think that's stupid. So I just don't subscribe to that ideology. But if that is the ideology you follow, oh, he hasn't won without Steph, or he hasn't won without the Warriors, he can't do this, this, and this, then I just implore you, please go look at that Boston Celtics team in the mid-'80s and tell me why they only have 3 championships. Please enlighten me how you can have a team that good, that stacked, They only have 3 championships. Enlighten me how you can have a team as good as the Boston Celtics had in 1981, and you can play as poorly as you did in the finals if you're Larry Bird, and you can win that series, yet Kevin Durant can get criticized for losing to the Heat in 2012 when he undoubtedly played better than Larry Bird did in a final series in which he won. And enlighten me on how that makes sense. Enlighten me on how the guy who won the series but played worse is getting more credit than the guy who lost his series but played clearly better. Is that Kevin Durant's fault that the rest of his team shot 20% from 3? I don't think so. Personally, no. But for some reason, yeah, Kevin Durant lost to the LeBron James Miami Heat. Ooh, okay. The Boston Celtics beat the 40-42 Houston Rockets. And Larry Bird played like trash. But that's one of his 3 championships. It counts. Like, I'm not saying it doesn't count. But what I'm saying is, like, can we go back and watch Larry Bird and tell me how the longevity, how the playoff performances, how that doesn't matter at all in these conversations? That's what I have to say. If there's anything you guys want to say about KD, we kind of conflated KD and Larry Bird, so you can talk about both of them. Then we're going to talk about both of them, and then next is LeBron James came first, guys. Everyone voted for him first. Surprise, surprise. Anyway, we're kind of talking about KD and Larry Bird at the same time.
Oh,
yeah. Ox had KD. Yeah, Brandon.
John, you heard what he said, right? He said, explain to him how Bird didn't dominate, like win as many in the 80s. You know a man named Isaiah Thomas? You know about a man that was in the 80s? I'm just asking if you know who that is.
I truly think because Boston, they were always throughout those years, they were always up there with the Lakers for best offense in the league. But then during the postseason, it always felt like Los Angeles was the best offense by themselves, and Boston would kind of take a step back in the postseason. I think Larry Bird did not have the ability to create as easy shots for himself like Kevin Durant did, because once Larry Bird dealt with more athleticism, once he dealt with more pesky defenders, he got worse as a shooter.
Dennis
he
Rodman
never
gave him
agreed.
hell.
Say again?
Dennis Rodman gave him hell.
Exactly.
Go watch those Pistons series.
He was never as good as a finisher, in my opinion. I just think like consistently, he would not finish around the rim as good as you would want him to as a lead scorer. But as far as like the passing and the difficult shot making, that's something that did keep him afloat as one of the best scorers in the league, in my opinion. Just the quick decision making, the passing in transition, the ability to make a pass and screen for the guy you just made the pass of and create the advantage for him that quick and that seamlessly. And the accurate passes that he made as well is why I think he's up there as an small forward at number 3. I just don't think he's a better scorer than Kevin Durant. I don't think he peaked as a defender maybe than Kevin Durant. I think the longevity is a factor as well, because Kevin Durant, like Mar said, has been one of the best scorers in the league for a really long time. Long time now. And we've seen it in so many different situations. We saw it in Brooklyn, we saw it in Golden State, we saw it in Phoenix, we saw it in OKC. Now we're about to go see it in Houston. Like I'm not necessarily doubting how he'll look in Houston, because the off-ball play is going to be ridiculous. The shooting is going to be ridiculous. The ability to pick and pop, the ability to pick and dive. I think somebody that can drop into a situation, multiple different situations, and he doesn't necessarily have to adjust the way he plays and they can still be elite with him on the floor is extremely valuable. Now, you can say the same thing about Bird, because Bird did not get the opportunity to play for different teams, but I think with Kevin Durant, the way he was able to shoot off the dribble, off the catch, be a good off-ball player throughout earlier in his career, be really good in transition, and be somebody you would have to worry about in transition as a pull-up three-point shooter in transition, or as somebody that can catch lobs and get to the rim. I don't think Larry Bird's better than KD. I don't.
Do you guys think Bird was out of position?
I think he was a 3-4.
I
feel like he was a 4-3 personally.
That's fair. I do think that's fair.
I can understand that.
The rebounding, all that stuff, the lack
just
of
him being slow-footed, stuff like that.
I can be with you. I can be with you on that. I want to say, like, there's a reason I have Larry Bird 3. Like, he's still amazing, and I know I was making the case for KD, so like
It did sound very passionate.
We can call a spade a spade. I was disrespecting Larry Bird.
I don't think you was.
I was critical.
Kind of was a little bit.
I was critical of Larry Bird. I didn't speak highly of his strengths. I think Larry Bird has a case to be one of the 5 best passers ever. That's how high I am on his passing ability. Is he a top 5 passer? Maybe, maybe not. But I think he has a case. I think he also has a case to be one of the best off-ball players ever, alongside Kevin Durant. In fact, he might be better off-ball if you factor in like the touch passing, the quick decisions, all of those things. He might even be a better off-ball player. I also think Larry Bird, there was a stretch where he was a really good defender. It was because of his team defense, his smartness. Is smartness a word? His intelligence, whatever. His intelligence, his hands, just really good. And then as a 3, his rim protection was a positive. As a 4, I think his rim protection is probably a negative. But as a 3, it's just bonus. Like, oh, look, this guy can also protect the rim. But if you're a 4 man, it's like, we kind of need you to protect the rim. You're not that great. Because he was a 3, it helped him alongside Parrish and McHale. And then his ability to fit next to 2 post-up bigs and make that work because of how good of a shooter he was for the time, because of how well he came off screens, because of how well he made decisions. The amount of times you watch the Boston Celtics in the mid-'80s when you have Dennis Johnson, Larry Bird's under the basket. They got Kevin McHale on one side on one block, Robert Parrish on the other block. Bird is just deciding which screen he wants to come off. He's gonna come off Robert Parrish screen, get to the elbow. Robert Parrish defender's gonna step up. Larry Bird has a jump shot. He decides to pass it to Robert Parrish for a dunk. Like, making those types of things work with that spacing because of how much of a threat you are as a shooter and then how good of a decision maker you are is extremely valuable. That's why I think he's one of the better offensive, one of the more portable, versatile offensive players we've ever seen. I think all of that is true. And that's why I think peak Bird, 84, 85, 86, 87, probably is a better player than Kevin Durant relative to era, in my opinion, because all of that utility. I'm just lower on the non-peak years of Birds. And that's why I think Kevin Durant makes up the grounds, because I think the peak is relatively comparable. I got Birds, but I can understand the KD peak argument. It gets to a point where I'm like, okay, young KD is better, more consistent. Old KD is clearly better. Bird's not even in the league at this point. Like, it gets to a point. And then you look at Larry Bird, the amount of series in which the Celtics were losing, especially before Dennis Johnson, in which Larry Bird is averaging 18, 16, 19 points on 42% shooting. If Kevin Durant did that today, rightfully so, he would get slandered. When Kevin Durant had that abomination of a series against the Boston Celtics in 2022, rightfully so, he got slandered because as a player of that caliber, you can't perform like that. I look at the 18-1 finals, the series in which they won. He averaged 15 points on 42% shooting. I then look the next year in the 82 conference finals when they lose to Philly. He averaged 18 points on 41% shooting. I then look at a year in which the 83 when they lose and they get swept by the Bucks, he averaged 19 points on 44% shooting and 67% from the line. They then acquire Dennis Johnson, and all of a sudden the scoring efficiency skyrockets. And that's a testament to his off-ball game, which is why I'm really high on peak Larry Bird. But we can't just ignore the flaws that were there. When we're evaluating these players in their careers, those things matter. And his defense didn't level up early on in his career, in my opinion, because you didn't get the maximal value of him as a tertiary rim protector at the 3. But he became more valuable defensively once you inserted McHale into the starting lineup. Because I think then you're like, we got 3, 6, 10 guys along the front line who are all smart, can all protect the rim, blah, blah, blah. So when I'm evaluating all of that, it's like peak Larry Bird 5 seasons probably outweighs Kevin Durant's best 5 seasons. Does that outweigh the best Kevin Durant 5 seasons by enough to make up for the other 8, 9 seasons that exist? For me, no. That's it. For me, no. But Larry Bird was amazing. Peak Larry Bird, I'm higher on him the most. Just the longevity, it matters to me, man. I don't know what to tell you. The longevity matters to me. So
you said a lot of good things, bro. I don't think, like, for me personally, listening to you talk, I don't think you was being negative towards Larry Bird. I think you had a perfect conversation of just critiquing both guys, because we're talking about 2 top 3 players at their position respectfully. You got to nitpick. You got to get nitpicky. I think you did the best job of it. I do think longevity is going to edge out. Well, Kevin Durant already edges out in longevity. So if their peaks, which I agree, I think their peaks are like in the same tier. You can put one above the other. If not, Kevin Durant's is higher, Bird's is higher, whatever. But the longevity part is going to be in Kevin Durant's favor because he's been, like you mentioned, a top 5 player for so long. Just talk like young Kevin Durant going to Golden State, understanding how to be a more positional aware, a better player on defense in terms of positional awareness, spatial awareness, just being a good defender and stuff like that. Then leaving Golden State, being great with Phoenix, great with Brooklyn. Obviously, you know, I'm not the poster boy for Kevin Durant, but I do acknowledge that he is one of the greatest players ever. He is up there in terms of peak. Him and Larry Bird is extremely close. I think what really does hurt Bird is the fact that he did have extreme back problems and he could not, you know, play out longer in his career, because that does affect you in the long run. But I find myself convincing. I find you convincing me more and more that I probably should have Kevin Durant at 2 and Bird at 3. Honestly,
Doing the Lord's work.
we know who Braun. We know what 1 is.
Let's look out, Bird.
We know who 1 is.
Yeah, I just want to because once again, I know I spoke very glowingly of KD and I've spoke disparagingly of Bird. I tried to give Bird his flowers at the end, but I also got to speak on KD's flaws. The playmaking, decision making took a long time to come along. Young KD, 2010, 2011 in particular, like he's just not much of a decision maker at all. Very turnover prone. The handle became loose in traffic. Couldn't make consistent decisions out of pick and roll. Could get flustered by double teams. Blah blah blah. But that's even beyond 2011. Like 2012, you see the same things. 2013, you see similar things. 2014, I think, is when you start to see the evolution. But he's still not someone you can give primacy to. And once again, that's because he's 7 foot.
What?
But then, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And then I think post Achilles Kevin Durant, the problem I think has been well documented, in my opinion, for a while. He just doesn't get downhill with the same frequency. And when you aren't able to do that, you aren't putting the defense in as much of a bind. You aren't putting them in rotation as much. All of those things. He's offset that by becoming the best mid-range scorer ever. But you see it in playoff settings. You don't get the easy stuff as consistently when teams are able to get up into you and you're still not able to get to the rim. You see the efficiency suffer at times. You see that the shot making can abandon you from game to game, leading you to have some lower floors, some bigger lows in terms of postseason production. He's still not strong enough, and he's playing the 4 more consistently now. He's still not strong enough to battle down low with some bigger guys. He tries to switch on the outside, which I think is valuable, but he can't switch across the boards because he can't guard most 5s in the league, especially ones who are offensively inclined. So there's some issues there. And then the turnovers are just a major problem with Kevin Durant, have been for 15 years now. So those are my concerns with Kevin Durant and why I think Larry Bird peaked higher, because of the playmaking issues that Kevin Durant has had for a very long time. So there we go. I'm trying to be objective, but I'm also not hiding the fact that my opinion is Kevin Durant is higher than Larry Bird. I'm not hiding that fact, but I think I've given a fair analysis.
What year was that when he struggled versus the Grizzlies? Because they used to play a really physical brand of basketball, and I think he struggled as a ball handler and a playmaker.
Might have been the year Westbrook got hurt.
It
Might
was
have been that year
because he was tasked with probably a bit too much in terms of what he was asked to do, but he struggled against Memphis in 2013 and 2014, and then he struggled again, and then the 2016 postseason he struggled that year as well. Just in general, he struggled against Dallas, against San Antonio. He was decent, and then he struggled against the Warriors with what they did, blowing the 3-1 leads. So like he's had flaws that have been exploitable in the postseason, which is another reason why I can understand the Bird over KD argument, because we've seen Kevin Durant's flaws get exploited. It's like they're clearly flawed players, which is why none of them got any first place votes. But is there anything any of you guys want to say about KD or Bird, or do we move on to the number 1, which was hotly contested?
Hey man, shout out to the Hoopers. That's all I got for you.
Hey man, I ain't got nothing to say on Bird and Kevin Durant, 2 all-time great players. I respect both of them. 2 of my favorite players ever, man.
Players are buck coming.
KD is definitely one of my favorite players ever. Larry Bird's, I like Larry Bird, but I don't think anyone from that era is one of my favorite players ever. Before we get into number 1, Footy Maniac. Which gap is wider, Jordan to Kobe or LeBron to Bird? To me, LeBron to Bird.
LeBron to Bird.
Yeah, LeBron to Bird. You know where I was going. Like
LeBron to Bird is like Jordan to like Klay Thompson. That's that gap. Wow.
MP13 said, I need someone to explain the KD hate for me because I can't see someone looking at Bird short prime and then shout out to MP13. I should have read this at the time. And then his early playoff series and then say he's just better than KD overall as a player. Yeah, I just think we scrutinize rightfully. We rightfully scrutinize Kevin Durant's flaws as a player because they're right in front of us and we see him in the playoffs. Well, we didn't see him in the playoffs this year, which I guess you can knock him for. But we see him in the playoffs. Whereas you have to go back and watch, you have to go back and watch 40 years ago Larry Bird. Like, it's just not as people aren't taking the time out of their day to go watch Larry Bird play against the Detroit Pistons in 87 and be like, oh, well, he struggled in this matchup because it is. It's like people aren't taking their time to do that. Whereas Kevin Durant is right in front of you. Oh, the 22 series is right there. I remember it was 3 years ago. So I think as time goes on, maybe history will be kinder to Kevin Durant, or maybe it'll be less kind because he still has 2 rings and he joined the super team together.
Probably.
I don't know which way it's going to go.
I do think that that comment, like what the guy said though, I feel like he's acting like there's nothing Bird does better than Kevin Durant as a player.
There's a lot Bird does better. There's a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's wrong. I think if you stack it up player for player, I think there is a good amount. Like it's probably going to break even when you end up looking at everything of just what they do as a player. But yeah, no, in the playoffs, Larry Bird struggled, especially like we mentioned, because I feel like his biggest struggles were because he wasn't really a true 3. But the problem is defensively, he couldn't really be a 4. So that was why I actually that question earlier, because I feel like that was one of his biggest troubles is trying to define his position. And who knows what would happen if he had a little bit better space and if he didn't have to play with 2 bigs. And now you can, run him in a lot more pick and pop actions and stuff like that. But listen, it's close, man. It's picking hairs, I feel like, with both of them.
That's all I'm trying to illustrate. That I think it's close, and I think most people just deem it as Bron 1, Bird 2, and then KD at 5.
Or Scottie Pippen.
No.
Yeah, so
I think it's
Scottie Pippen 3. That shit is crazy. Scottie Pippen 3. I don't know what's
shout
up.
Shout out to Ox, man. Shout out to Ox.
Shout out to Scottie, man.
I got to talk to Ox.
But anyway, Hunter said, outside of Bron, does KD have an argument over Kareem as having the second best longevity ever? I mean, he has an argument.
Kareem?
He has an argument.
I feel like Kareem,
but I think Kareem's got it. I also think, whether we like it or not, number 32 was a good player for a really long time. I'm not gonna bring it up. Like I'm not gonna praise him for that. But he was really good for really long. Like he just was.
He was. No, that freak boy in Utah was definitely good for a long time. He definitely was good for a long time. But Kareem
he should be locked away for a long time. But
yeah, I agree. Like forever.
Hold on.
Kareem longevity starts in high school. I feel like Kareem longevity is different because I feel like you got to look beyond the NBA. Like he started. 32?
No. What I was gonna say was Swiper.
John is crazy.
Remember, Swiper was like, what 13 reasons why you like Karl Malone? That was crazy.
You get the bar now?
He asked Chill, what can you give me 13 reasons why you like Karl Malone? That was nuts.
About that either.
Such an immature joke. Yeah, I would never make such a joke. It's disgusting. Yeah, it's disgusting.
That was nuts.
He's too old for that joke. Now, yeah, Kareem longevity though crazy. I don't know. I wouldn't put Kevin Durant right there with his, but probably like after, maybe like 2 or 3 spots.
KD's longevity is ridiculous, and it gets to a point. I just think it's becoming undeniable at this point. But some people are low. Some people don't even. I've seen some people in the chat saying, "Are we praising scoring on tanking teams to imply that Kevin Durant wasn't extremely valuable this year?"
What team was there tanking on?
He's talking about this year how the Suns missed the playoffs. So are we?
But the Suns weren't taking Aaron's ass.
Yeah, even this year on the Suns, like the Suns were undoubtedly a much better team with Kevin Durant on the court. Like I'm not.
Hold on, that's actually know what tanking. Do people know what tanking means? They weren't tanking.
I don't think
they were actively trying to win games. They just weren't.
Well, some would say that might be worse for Kevin Durant. Yeah, some might say that's worse for Kevin Durant on a team that's trying to win and he still can't win.
You can make that argument.
Kevin Durant was on the floor. They were good, and he missed some games too. When he was playing though, they had a good record, like a really good record.
I remember early on they were 17-3 when he played, and he was like,
but he just him and
anyway,
some time.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not trying to
play,
change.
Do you know?
Slightly above 500. I can't remember what it was. Okay. Slightly above. Anyway, yeah. I know some people are gonna be very disagreeable with the stuff I've said about KD and Larry Bird, but that is the name of the game. It is what it is. Final super chat, and then we get into our number one. Andre De Silva said, Mars, does this mean you have KD comfortably over Steph since you have Bird comfortably over Magic, and Steph and Magic are close to you? I don't know if I have Bird comfortably over Magic. I think Bird's a better player, but I don't know if it's comfortable. And does that mean I have KD comfortably over Steph? Find out in 2 weeks from now when we do our top 10 of all 3 weeks from now when we do our top 10s of all time, and you'll see where I have KD and Steph if they make it or not. Anyway,
that's a great number one creative move right there. That was good.
Thank you, man. Number one
to make it mine. I'd say that. We know who.
Yeah, the legendary one. There was 18 guys who sent their lists, which means the maximum amount of points you could get was 180, getting 10 points from each person. LeBron James had 179 points.
Who had him?
Did this, man?
I'm joking, man. LeBron James had 180 points. Everyone had him
Okay.
at number one. It's back-to-back
I thought it was gonna
weeks
be-
where we've had a unanimous number one. Last week we had a unanimous number two as well. But this week we have a unanimous number one. There's not much to say that hasn't already been said, but who wants to kick us off with LeBron James? Who wants to talk about?
I'll take that
The
honor.
greatest of all
I'll
time.
take
Go
that
ahead.
honor for sure.
I'll take that honor.
LeBron, man. LeBron.
Damn, you about to start dick rod. I could just feel it, bro.
You
Like,
can hear it, right?
the way you just started that off,
That was for
man,
Kobe
LeBron.
last week. That was for
you
Kobe.
about to start going crazy. Like,
I can hear that shit, bro.
Because I wasn't even finna go too crazy, but now I have to. LeBron, man. I think he's one of the more
He said it again. You double back the glaze. I respect that.
I think LeBron is one of the I think you can argue LeBron is one of the greatest scorers of all time, even though he doesn't get looked at as one of the greatest scorers of all time. Like, you're not about to tell me 2018 Bron isn't one of the best scorers in the league. Like, with all the counters he had, all the jump shooting he had, especially in 2018, the mid-range shooting was really good. The post fadeaways was really good. He was killing Toronto with that. The greatest longevity in NBA history, in my opinion. At his peak, he was very versatile defensively and very good off the ball. I'm not as high as on LeBron on the ball at his peak defensively, just because I felt as though he bit a lot on hezzies and crossovers, especially against smaller guards like a Tony Parker or a Derrick Rose or things of that nature. One of the better passers at his position all time. The way he was able to get better as a scorer as his career went along. I felt like earlier in his years, he was banking a lot on his athleticism and downhill ability, but towards his Miami Heat days, he got a lot more polished as a post player. The angles he used to finish around the rim over taller defenders, the ability to play in the mid range. Yeah, LeBron.
damn.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go.
put tape on his mouth, man. He just, he
Bro,
can't stop.
I ain't gonna lie. This is not as bad as the Kobe
man.
rant. This wasn't as bad as the Kobe rant. Like, I was really considering putting Kobe number one, just so
Number one, what?
Shooting guard all time. I was really considering putting, but this is the thing. Because this is good for both. This is good for both my agendas. I was gonna put Kobe number one, so Michael Jordan wouldn't be the unanimous shooting guard, and LeBron would. So it's yeah, that's for both.
Premeditated glaze is insane.
Yeah.
Premeditated glaze is very strategic.
But
That was
a
good.
lot of people think I hate LeBron because of the recent, like, Luka's a Laker now and this is Luka's team. LeBron's my third favorite player of all time because there's a guy in Chicago. Can't ever.
Derrick Rose.
Yeah, I can't ever let that go.
Respect
Can't
that,
ever let
brother.
that go. I can't ever let that
I'm here
go.
with
But yeah.
Anything else you guys want to say about LeBron James? Because I know his stands are going to be annoyed if we don't obviously talk about how.
I mean, we
great-
glazed Jokic for an hour.
Oh, we did do that.
We were talking
That
about,
was
I think it was our top 10 centers in the league. Yeah, we talked about Jokic for a while.
It was.
For
That was
an hour?
good.
It was
I don't
like
know if it was an hour. It was like
Yeah, it was
35 minutes. Though.
it was like 40 minutes. But
I mean, that's
yeah,
still
we
quite
did
a
talk about
glaze.
Jokic for a very long time.
Yo, LeBron, great player, all-time great player.
It ain't enough.
Champion, versatile defender, elite.
It ain't
scorer,
enough. No,
elite passer.
wait.
You know,
Rim, I'm sorry. So the way that John D smacked this table, it ain't enough. And I can hear it. I can hear the table vibrate with the anger and you saying that wasn't good enough what he said right
You're
there.
not
My fault,
representing
I'm sorry.
LeBron the way he needs to be represented.
Ah, damn, not enough.
I,
Shit.
I ain't got it in me, man. Like, but yeah, LeBron, all-time great man, number one. I personally hate him, so.
You hate LeBron?
I mean,
That's very strong.
I'll take the mantle. I mean, he was unanimous, just like MJ was the week before. The only list that hasn't had a unanimous number one thus far is the point guard list, which was separated by 2 points.
Should have been
Magic did come out
unanimous,
on top.
but
Yeah, it should have been. Magic should have been unanimously number one.
Steph should have been unanimous, like he got his MVP. But who am I to
Nah,
speak,
well,
you
he
know?
came second, so who cares? But anyway, LeBron James.
Sure.
As many finals losses as everyone on this list has appearances. You give credit to that.
Yo,
That
I'm not
was
gonna lie, I'm
great
gonna log
glaze.
on.
That was good glaze, but he did
Oh
lose.
no, my fault. John Havlicek, my
He
fault.
fried him.
My
Fried
fault.
his
John Havlicek and Elgin Baylor did make the finals more times than LeBron lost. So my fault. Third on the list in terms of finals losses versus appearances. All-time leading scorer in NBA history. 21 All-NBA selections. He's been All-NBA. Yeah.
He's 21.
Yeah.
God, yo, retire, bro. He's doing too much.
He's been All-NBA for longer than 99% of NBA careers. Not many. How many guys have played 20 seasons in the NBA? We're looking at Vince Carter,
many. Kevin Garnett.
Kareem.
Didn't Stockton play 20?
KG got to about 20. He came in 95,
Tim
96.
Duncan. Did Tim Duncan get to 20?
I don't think Tim Duncan went to 20. Tim Duncan was 19, I think. John Stockton, I think, was around 20. No, he wasn't because he retired in like 03. And he
might have been
joined the
18.
league in,
He started like 17.
he just never missed games. Kevin Willis, maybe, because Kevin Willis was still in the league at like 43.
Did Gary Payton get to 20?
I'm gonna just look it up.
Did he?
Most seasons played
into
NBA
the mid 2000s. He played with the Heat and
Most
stuff.
seasons played in NBA history. Okay, list of NBA seasons leaders. Okay, there we go. Vince Carter, LeBron James, they played above 20. They played 22. He's going into the most seasons ever. Robert Parrish played 21. Kevin Willis played 21. KG and Dirk played 21. Kareem, Kobe, Jamal Crawford, Udonis Haslem, and Chris Paul with Moses Malone, James Edwards, John Stockton, number 32, Charles Oakley. Oh, yeah, Shaq got to 20. Shout out to Shaq. And Juwan Howard.
That shit was nasty at the end.
Juwan Howard definitely played 20 seasons.
Yeah, he was.
He was in NBA.
He was still kicking in the early 2010s.
Like the last 5 years of his career.
Religiously.
So we're looking at about 20-ish players who have played 20 seasons, and he's made 21 All-NBA teams. The amount of guys who have played 21 seasons or more is like 5. So
yeah,
he's made All-NBA longer than all careers but 5.
That's kind of crazy, man.
While having the most points ever, I think he's 4th full-time on the assist leaderboard. He's probably going to catch Jayson Kidd at some point. So he'll probably get to 3rd. One of the best player performers I've ever seen. One of the best scorers I've ever seen. Jerry West has that record, my friend. The second. Some of the worst finals performances I've ever seen in 2007, 2011.
Dominated the weak East.
Yeah. Made the finals 8 straight times against teams that I think I could have beat.
Beat Toronto and DeMar DeRozan. Woohoo! Yeah. Like dope.
Lost to the Orlando Magic as a 66-win team in 09. Yeah, that happened. Got obliterated by the Celtics in 08 and 2010.
Don't forget the Spurs series, but he couldn't make a jump shot to save his life.
Oh yeah, shot like sub 40% from the field. Multiple playoff series shooting below 40% from the field as a 6'9" freight train who's meant to live at the rim.
Reason why Iggy got a Finals MVP. You got to add that. He's the reason.
Most turnovers in NBA history.
True.
Most missed shots in NBA history. Yep, most missed shots in NBA history too. So you look at the most failures, 6 finals losses, most turnovers, most missed shots. No one's failed more than LeBron.
Hey, man,
you know how many dislikes we're gonna get for this little segment here? Hey. All jokes aside, all jokes aside. LeBron James is one of the best scorers, playmakers, most versatile players this game has ever seen. Especially in his peak when he could guard multiple positions. He could be your point guard. He could close possessions on defense as your anchor. He could protect the rim. He could play passing lanes. He could defend in isolation. Amazing defensive communicator. Very high motor in those years as well. Then he became this more refined, pure playmaking savant once he gets to Cleveland the second time round, where he's practically your point guard. Like that. By point guard definition, like he's practically your point guard. He's not listed as a point guard, and I'm not going to call him a point guard, but like he practically was. That was his role by how you view the point guard position. Became an excellent mismatch attacker. Became one of the most playoff-proof players we've seen. When we look 2014, 15, and that's a down year for LeBron. 14, 16, 17, 18, 19. Well, 19 they missed the playoffs. Missing the playoffs in his prime, by the way. 2020, like he's a playoff-proof player. Like there was no scheme that you could throw at LeBron that not only he hadn't seen before, but that he couldn't beat. And I think that's what separates him from a Larry Bird, a Kevin Durant, everyone else on the list. There was nothing you could throw at LeBron that he couldn't beat because of his strength, his physical imposition, his playmaking, his decision-making, his athleticism. Like there was There's no answer to LeBron James. Now, some people are like, oh, just let him shoot. And then he became one of the better shooters in the league the last couple of years. Like, he's peaking as a shooter at 41. Like,
Yes, he
there's
is.
only so much you
Yes,
can
he
do
is.
with this man. So where, like, there's not much I can say about LeBron that his stands will be satisfied with this side of me saying he's the best player ever at everything. But, like, he is one of the best players ever at everything. He's one of the best scorers. He's one of the best playmakers. He's one of the best passers. He's one of the most versatile defenders. He has the best longevity ever. He's one of the best athletes ever. So, like, the stands aren't that far off when they say he's the best at everything, because he's damn near the best at everything. Like, he's right there, and he's done it for this long. I say it all the time. LeBron James has been all NBA. LeBron James has been an all NBA caliber player.
Yo, John,
literally
I'm sorry.
my whole
Fix
life.
your eyes, man.
That's a
Hey,
fact.
Yeah, John Z getting a bit too excited.
No,
I can
That's
see
my
John's
stuff.
I'm saying,
eyes,
like, I'm just saying, because I do it. My two of my three favorite players I've gotten to talk about loosely. I didn't have to stop anything I was saying. I could just go. You know,
Okay.
back-to-back weeks I get to talk about Kobe.
He fully committed now.
Bro.
What's up, bro?
Shout out to Elgin Baylor, man. Shout out to Elgin Baylor.
He's at least fully expressing his real self. I rock with that, King.
It's just like LeBron has been an all NBA, not just an NBA player. LeBron has been making all NBA teams
Our whole life.
since the day I was born.
Yeah, literally. Mm-hmm.
Like there hasn't been a time on this planet where I've existed and LeBron hasn't been on the all NBA team.
Same.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like,
cap.
Like, I think it's quite obvious when I say I value the longevity stuff on all of these lists. When we do our GOAT list, man's made 21 all NBA teams. I'm just letting you guys know, like,
Yeah,
like, I'm just like,
y'all should know.
there's only
He gonna be.
there's
He
so
definitely
much I
gonna be
can
number
do.
2 for me, for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna be number 6, one for each finals loss. But like it's
I'm with that.
It's ridiculous the level he's been able to. I don't even say maintain, because he's done it in such different ways. And I'm coming to the conclusion, not the conclusion. I think peak LeBron might be in his first stint in Cleveland. That's my hot take, I guess.
Wow.
I think that might be the best LeBron ever was. But the fact that I think you can choose between that, Miami, and then second stint Cleveland shows just how great he was. Because, like, all three of those versions are top 5 players to ever play, in my opinion.
All
anyway.
three of them.
And that's a decade apart, damn near. Like 09 to 2018, like that's 9 years apart. But I don't know what else I can say. Like, he's ridiculous. He's ridiculous. And I understand people want to hate on him, and he's the most hated athlete in the NBA, like, by far, for sure. But at some point,
somebody in the chat said, "My
at some
dad
point you
was
go appreciate
35 when LeBron got drafted. I'm 34 now. Like, that's nuts."
Yeah,
like,
it's crazy.
It gets to a point. Like, there's a subsection of people, and I don't think they're ever going to change their mind. They're just so devoted to hating, but they've genuinely missed pure greatness. Like, they've just missed pure greatness because they've been so hell-bent on hating on it as it unfolds. And maybe 10 years from now, when LeBron is only averaging 17 in the NBA,
I can't wait.
Maybe then they'll be like, okay, he's in year 32. Maybe I'll start showing some love. I don't know, but it's just been greatness from the jump. It's just been greatness from the jump. He was the best player in the world, in my opinion, from 09 all the way up until 2018. If I'm the most pessimistic, 09 to 2018. If I'm optimistic, 09 to 2020. Like, a decade where he's the best player on the planet in an era that most people deem to be the toughest era of all time. We got peak Steph Curry. We got peak Kevin Durant. Kawhi Leonard comes around. You got Kobe Bryant. Like, and LeBron James was the best player on the planet for damn near a decade. Like, that's Larry Bird's career. Like, are we acknowledging what he's been doing? LeBron James was the best player on the planet for the same time that Larry Bird had to get him to number 2 on this list. Larry Bird's whole career, which is about 10 years, got him to be the second greatest small forward of all time. The greatest small forward of all time before LeBron James arrived. LeBron James was the best player on the planet for that length of time. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know what more he has to do. I don't know what more he has to prove. I don't know what more people have to see. It's ridiculous. Is there anything you guys want to add? Because
Go.
I'm gonna
I don't
say,
have
I'm gonna
anything
say,
else to say.
I don't want to, cause like
You don't need
I'm
to
pretty
say
sure
nothing
over the
else.
past, bro, just real quick.
You don't need to say
3 minutes.
nothing else.
I want to get this
That
last
man
one.
is
I
on
don't
the
want
phone.
I just want to get this last one
You
out.
If
kinda
it's
like
too
it.
much glaze, I'm gonna kick you off the stage. I'm just like,
No. No.
Yeah, boy,
I
foaming at the mouth.
don't even remember what I was gonna say. But
Thank God.
To be completely fair, like I don't want to spoil it. Never mind. I'm gonna just let y'all rock. I'm gonna let y'all
Thank
rock.
God. Please.
I'm gonna let y'all rock.
We ain't trying to hear that.
I'm gonna let
How
y'all
long
rock.
y'all think LeBron gonna play, bro?
I'm not
think
gonna
3 more
lie.
years. I don't think he's gone next year. I don't believe that.
Bryce gonna make the league, and Bronny gonna be an all-star, and Bron's still gonna be playing.
I think LeBron is trying to run this shit up as much as he can before he gets gone to make sure you can't even get close. I believe that.
Already think.
Wait, do y'all see him being a role player in the league or nah?
I think he's gonna start for his whole career.
I feel like that's when he'll decide to retire. Like I feel like Steph, KD, Braun, once they realize that they like on the role player shit, that's when they're like, nah, this ain't it no more.
Like I've come to a point
LeBron
where
James
like,
could be supercharged like Draymond Green.
He really
I
could
saw
do that.
KG tweet that.
Yeah,
Like,
still an
just be
all-star.
that playmaker, running transition, playing the post, just But I've come to a point where it's like I have to go get some tickets to go see Bron play before it's over with. I have to.
Oh no, I don't have to do that. Yeah, I can acknowledge
good.
greatness and acknowledge I don't want to watch it, but I can acknowledge how great he is.
So Riv,
He's not
real quick.
close on my list of players I want to watch.
If Curry on his way out, you're not gonna go get him
already. I've seen him already. I saw him in the garden.
So like, I haven't seen him yet. I haven't seen him in person yet. Like,
yeah, but you miss peak, bro. Like, who cares? Oh,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm
I
not
like
sure.
21-year-old LeBron. Like,
You waiting until he's 40 with the Lakers is fake an L on your part. I'll be honest.
it don't.
That's an L.
I mean, I'm an adult now. When he was at his peak, I was 9 years old.
yeah, you should have got some tickets.
Should have had some lemonade stands up, brother.
See me? That London 2012 Olympics? I was there. I seen, bro. I'm lying, but
the best I've seen was Timmy D. That's the best I've seen.
You saw Tim Duncan live?
Yeah. In 2012.
So the best player you saw on the court was probably Manu Ginobili.
Well,
You weren't there watching for.
Old.
You weren't there watching for Tim Duncan, and you was there watching for Derrick Rose and Manu Ginobili.
That was cool. I saw Rookie Dame.
Wait, so you never seen D Rose? I seen D Rose at his prime.
I mean, watched. I've never been to a game. No.
I've been to a D Rose game. He was playing the Nets.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I seen it. Damn, you missing it. Yo, God bless.
Couple super chats before we get out of here. 10 Man said when John heard Bron's name, he shivered. #.
No, he did shiver. He did shiver. I've seen that. He did shiver. Yes.
Shout out to Elgin Baylor, man.
Yo, Mars.
Put it on vinyl. Oh, yes.
I have a soccer question because I know you're heavily involved in the soccer department. Where do you stand on this? Okay. Where do you stand on this Messi versus Ronaldo? Where are you standing?
Where do you stand on who the greatest shooter of all time is?
Oh, shooter Steph. Fuck.
Do you think it's a conversation?
That's what this conversation is.
It's never. It's no conversation.
Is it disrespectful to bring up anyone compared to Steph as a shooter?
Yes, 100%.
It's disrespectful to bring up anyone compared to Messi. It's the exact.
That's
same
what I like.
That's
what I like. Yeah, I like that energy. There you go.
It's disrespectful. Shout out to Ronaldo. He like decent. Put it on vinyl. Said, okay, I see the list on Twitter. Yep, I have posted the list on Twitter. Did I miss any Paul George talk? If not, can I get some, especially your opinions on his defense? John D did sparingly talk about Paul George. I'm very high on his defense. I'll say that. Very high on his defense. Indiana Paul George is one of the best wing defenders I've ever seen. I don't know what that means. I'm not going to tell you he's top 5, top 7, top 10. I don't know. But he's one of the best I've ever seen. Elite screen navigation, can protect the rim, can defend in isolation, can defend multiple positions. Elite athlete, elite mobility. There wasn't much.
Great deflections, great in the passing lanes, could switch.
That drop coverage with Roy Hibbert worked solely because of Paul George screen navigation.
Long arms.
Roy Hibbert got to play all the way in the paint because of Paul George. He was just amazing.
Defense, I'd argue, was better than his offense. I'd argue his defense was better than his offense.
At that point, yeah. But then you get to 2019. 2019 is kind of an outlier year. Like he never replicated anything close to that. But that year was a special year.
That was an insane year, bro.
That year was a special year. But yeah, he wasn't gonna make this list. I have Elgin Baylor at 10. Like he wasn't gonna make the list, respectfully. But Paul George was a really, really good player. Teddy Hart said, "I live in Columbia, South Carolina." Is that South Carolina?
So.
Yeah, that's South Carolina, bro.
And I bought Hornets tickets twice to go see him, and both times he was injured. I want to see him before he retires too. I mean, he's not gonna play the Hornets, respectfully.
You think that he was gonna play them? It's funny, bro.
Yeah, respectfully, the Hornets is not gonna get. That's tough, but yeah, that's unfortunate. Before we get out of here, I just want to remind everyone of the list. In 17th place, we had Bernard King, Jayson Tatum, and Scottie Barnes, all with 1 point. In 14th place, we had Adrian Dantley with 4 points. In 13th place, we had Carmelo Anthony with 11 points. In 12th place, we had James Worthy with 18 points. In 11th place, we had Dominique Wilkins with 22 points. In 10th place, we had Paul Pierce with 23 points. In 9th place, we had Rick Barry with 35 points. In 8th place, we had John Havlicek with 39 points. In 7th place, we had Elgin Baylor with 54 points. In 6th place, Kawhi Leonard with 84 points. In 5th place, Scottie Pippen with 91 points. In 4th, Dr. J with 123 points. In 3rd, Kevin Durant with 145 points. In 2nd, Larry Bird with 158 points. And then in 1st, Mr. 4 and 6 with 180 points. That was our top 10 list. Now, before we get out of here, Gifted Riv, where can the people find you? What do you do? Who are you? All of that good stuff.
You can start, Riv.
Yeah, or not. Like, if you guys don't want to shout yourselves out,
Yeah, I'm like,
I ain't forcing you to. Like, I ain't forcing you
My
to.
fault. I thought I'm used to other people doing it. Yeah, you can follow me on forgot my Twitter. But Pick a Side Podcast, that's where I'd be at for sure. Instagram, Pick a Side, Twitter, Pick a Side. I think my Twitter name for me is Durag Rib for sure, so you can catch me on there. But yeah, I'm active. I like to talk basketball or just talk general stuff. Honestly, I'd be bored, so follow me there.
There you go. Gifted.
I'm gifted. I watch a ton of basketball. Right now in the offseason, I'm doing a project where I break down all 30 NBA teams. If you want to tap into that, you can catch me on YouTube and everywhere at Gifted Hoops. That's me. Appreciate you.
There you go. John D. You wasn't here last week because you skedaddled after glazing Kobe. So where can the people find you?
You guys can find me over at the Buzzer Sports, where we truly have top tier draft coverage covering multitude of different prospects coming throughout the draft. You can expect the 2026 draft to be starting very soon. We are currently doing a series where we rank every current player at their position. You can find Riv on that as well. We do a lot of things as player profiles. I'm also working on talking about some of the underrated peaks in 2010, like Kevin Love, Blake Griffin, Joakim Noah, guys like that, working on player profiles and film breakdowns. You can find a lot of different basketball over at the Buzzer Sports. Historic talk, current talk, college hoops, draft scouting, all of that things over at the Buzzer Sports. And we are working in some reactions. So you can find me over at the Buzzer Sports.
Joakim Noah. What a name.
Shout out to Joakim Noah, man. Love Joakim Noah. I think he would be amazing in today's game. Because you can shoot the third. You can find me here. You can find me on Players Choice. You can follow me on Twitter if you want. Mars Talk Sports. I am thinking of doing playbacks at some point, but I'm also just too lazy to start a stream. But I think playback's a great platform, so I'm gonna try it at some point, probably in August. I don't know.
Let me know.
Yo, Gifted, you're on Players Choice too. How many people do you guys have, bro? It's like 100 of y'all.
Yeah,
100 and you can't make it. That's tough.
That's funny. Yeah, so I specifically have a show on Players Choice called From the Logo. I'm unable to be a part of the panel ever because I work every single day. So these guys put in all the work 3 times a day, but that's my capacity to play Choice right now at the very least.
Like that.
Shout
We got a sweatshop.
man. Yeah, shout out to From the Logo. Gifted got his own show because he couldn't make the panel. That's motion. That's truly motion.
Appreciate it.
But anyway, that was the small forward list. Next week will be power forwards. These guys will be involved with sending me their top 10 lists. That one should be very interesting, very contentious all around. I think that would be the most debatable list. So if that's what you're looking forward to, make sure you watch that one. If you haven't watched the shooting guard list, watch it. It's on the Hoop Talk playlist. It's on the top 10s playlist. If you haven't watched the point guard list, same thing. It is split into 2 videos because StreamYard glitched out, is what it is. But hope you guys are enjoying the series. I'm enjoying the series. Hope you guys have enjoyed all the guests. Thank you once again to Gifted and Riff for pulling up. Thank you to John D for being a relatively decent co-host. And then I will see you when I see you. Thank you guys for watching and goodbye.